Alright, folks. It's a nice, cool day here now, afternoon here in the Philippines. It's not raining, but the clouds have rolled in and it looks like it's gonna rain. But I say, you know what, fuck it. Sometimes there's no time like the present. You know, for the past month it's been raining, so I can't sit outside. The rain is so fucking noisy. My little office in there, the house is concrete. So every room that you're in, there's a huge fucking echo. And the best audio for me is to sit outside. The problem is these dudes across the street have been finishing up the construction on these townhouses. And so they're running power tools. They've been sanding down the final finish on the concrete. They actually had to redo it. So all you hear is whick, whick, whick. Of course they got their music and their activities going on. So audio may not be perfect. That's just the fucking way it is. I said, you know what? Fuck it. No time like the present to sit down and talk to this camera. It's cool out here with a cool breeze. Got me a cold beer, cigar, and I'm gonna do a video today. This is, if you want to call it political topic. I don't think it's political. Call it a cultural topic. And I'm not gonna be here pretending that I have all the answers. And what I always say is I just like to invoke thought. I just like to give other people food for thought, things to talk about, things to debate, things to agree, disagree with. But you have to start somewhere. You have to start the forum somewhere. You got to kickstart it, and then somewhere in the dust, you know, will lie probably the best answer if more than one person weighs in. So I'm not sitting here saying I'm fucking right about this topic. I'm not claiming that. I'm just gonna throw a blog post out there that I wrote back in 2012. It's been so long ago, I gotta pull up the blog post just to really remember what I wrote. But the same holds true, it hasn't changed. And so what I'm gonna talk about is the problem in America with mass shootings, with the streets being out of control. And the title of this blog post, let me pull it up here. What the hell did I call it? I gotta Google my own damn blog post to pull it up. It's called I think it's about gun control. Let's see, just type in these keywords: politicians, something about bad karma. And what I'm gonna do is go over the post. Or there it is. Alright, so here's the name of this post right here. I'm pulling it off my iPad. Gun control, politicians, hypocrisy, and bad karma. Now, it's got June 1st, 2016, but I was redesigning some website shit. I wrote this article back in 2012, and it was after that Sandy Hook elementary school shooting. And that's not significant, because you just fucking take your pick. You know, take your pick of the mass fucking shootings in America and the places where it's not safe to go congregate. I mean, from schools to fucking movie theaters to church, the fucking mall, Walmart. You know, a while back J-Dog called me up. He said, man, add a fucking all-night art festival to the places you can't fucking go in America without getting shot. Concerts. What did we add the other day? A fucking garlic festival. It's a sad state of affairs in the United States of America when you can't go to a fucking garlic festival and not get fucking shot. That's a fucking sad day, my friends. Goddamn garlic festival. I thought the all-night art festival was the worst, but I don't know. It's a close. When you think of garlic and you think of art, you don't think of fucking mass shootings. But in America, they go together like fucking peas and carrots these days. So I wrote this article back in 2012. Alright, so I did make some notes here. I said I shelved it because I was trying to clean up my act of commenting on U.S. politics. I really just want to write about philosophy and travel. However, in light of the recent Orlando shooting and the comical publicity stunt by the Democrats on the House floor, I've resurrected it with a few edits. My original position still stands. Okay, so apparently, I think it was that nightclub shooting, and the Democrats did some, shit, I can't even remember. It's been so far back. And let me caveat before we get started here. I'm not a fucking Republican. I'm not a fucking Democrat. I'm not left wing. I'm not right wing. Okay? I don't belong to any motherfucking groups. I'll make my own motherfucking decisions. I am the fucking king of my fucking castle and my kingdom. And I don't need your fucking groups. I don't need to fucking vote along party lines. I don't fucking care. So don't think I'm picking on Democrats. I'm picking on Republicans, independents, fucking, what do we got now? Libertarian. I'm not picking on anybody because I don't give a fuck. I do my own thing. I don't want to fucking be part of your group. You want to invite me? Thanks for the invitation, but I can tell you right now the answer is fucking no. People ask me why I don't join a fucking motorcycle gang. You know why? There's too many fucking rules. Why the fuck would it? You see the irony in a motorcycle gang? You're supposed to be about freedom, but you gotta fucking be a pledge for a year, memorize 1 million fucking rules and all these codes. There's some irony and hypocrisy about that. So I don't give a fuck. I'm not a fucking. I think when I was a young kid, I may have had an NRA card, but that was 30 years ago. So don't think I'm on. I'm not on any side of the fucking fence because I do my own fucking thing. All right. But I got pissed off, and I wrote that article back in 2012. And folks, I used to be a fucking cop, believe it or not. I used to be in public safety. I was a paramedic. Okay, I've been around guns my entire fucking life. So you'll learn more about me as we go, but I'm just gonna read this. I'm gonna read this, and maybe this video is not action packed. It's gonna be me sitting in this chair reading this article, and I got a few pages of notes that I'm gonna add in there. So basically, this is a podcast. I could just fucking put a picture up there and call it a podcast, but I'm sitting in this chair, so fuck it, you can look at me. This is a video cast. So for my regular subscribers looking for action, travel, adventure, and some banjo, just skip this video, go to the next one. Or fucking listen while you're riding down the road sitting in traffic. And all that swishing in the background, there's some dudes standing on the fucking walls over there. Deal with it. Alright, the gun control debate and debacle. As an average American, I feel compelled to offer my thoughts on the recent and never-ending debates on gun control in the United States. Alright, first of all, I believe in the Second Amendment and the right to bear arms. However, that fact is not because I am a card-carrying member of the National Rifle Association. I'm not a member of the NRA. I'm not a gun fanatic. For 2 decades, my career path did require me to carry a gun of some sort everywhere I went. It was how I made a living. I used to own several guns, but I sold every one of them prior to moving to Southeast Asia. My lifestyle and interests have changed to where I no longer feel the need to arm myself. I travel too much to be able to carry a gun anyway. No, I believe in the Second Amendment because it's a right afforded to U.S. citizens by the Constitution. Our forefathers found this to be an issue of the utmost importance and codified it. Now, what I believe in is the Constitution. What's fucking left of it. If that makes me an extremist, a gun nut, right wing, left wing, insensitive, subversive, etc., then so be it. I've definitely been called a hell of a lot worse. Okay, and this is a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Okay, now how does the average person like me interpret a well-regulated militia? Well, the word regulated, according to Merriam-Webster, is defined as to bring under the control of law or constituted authority. So sit back and consider the current state of affairs the United States government finds itself in concerning the use of United States military. American troops have been and are involved in more conflicts than our forefathers ever intended them to be. Our actions in Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghanistan could hardly fall under the auspices of the control of law, nor were those conflicts necessary to the security of a free state. The U.S. government may convince those ignorant of history that the conflicts were and are necessary, but they cannot convince those of us who are capable of independent thought. Alright, so what does this have to do with gun control? Well, I personally believe that the original intent and the idea of the Second Amendment was for the citizens of America to be able to defend America. I believe that the right of the people to keep and bear arms was the earliest concern for homeland security. If the common people were armed, how could a foreign force succeed in an invasion? They may win the initial battles, but armed citizens would immediately assume the roles of insurgents. Eventually, the invading force would be driven out and the government could rebuild and regroup. It was the ultimate insurance policy to ensure the country survived. And it was the earliest plan for the continuity of government. It was so important that the last words of the amendment issued an order. The order was that the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. I don't think they could have chosen a more powerful phrase to make their intent known. And they might as well have said, don't fuck with this amendment. Shall. They used the word shall not. The people were designed to be the true defenders of our country. A well-regulated militia meant a militia that was only as strong as was needed and nothing more. Why? Because nobody wanted to pay for a military when it wasn't needed. Back then, the people actually had to pay to support soldiers and their equipment. They didn't have the luxury of borrowing money from China and not worrying about paying it back. What has happened, especially since World War II, is that the U.S. government and the military-industrial congressional complex, which I call MIC for short, has convinced the American public that a robust military is necessary. Their public relations division, in other words Fox News, I consider them to be the same entity, easily scares the average American into believing their message. The terrorists are trying to kill you, so don't worry about where we're wasting your money. And let me enlighten you on something. Fear makes money. I can't stress that enough. Fear makes money, my friends. Going on to the next chapter. The greatest purveyor of violence in the world today. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. called the United States government the greatest purveyor of violence in the world today. I strongly agree with that statement and argue that they still hold the title. U.S. bombs have killed millions of civilians the world over. U.S. drones kill innocent children during their assassinations of Afghan and Pakistani farmers. who have neither been indicted nor convicted of any crime against the United States. Drone strikes are happening as I write these words. They're happening right now as I read these words into this video camera. Therefore, how can the United States government be so arrogant as to think that they can formulate a solution to the violence in America through gun control? Meanwhile, they are administering violence at an alarming rate and killing children with United States tax dollars. That doesn't qualify them as experts in brokering peace. They have addressed what they refer to as insurgencies with violence and guns. But to address bad guys in America, they want to take away guns from the good people. This is coming from the same government officials who can't even balance a budget. People who can't even balance a checkbook. I'm confused. What are we at? $21 trillion in debt? These folks want to think about talking about solving the issue of violence. They can't balance a fucking checkbook. Go ahead and make guns illegal or damn near impossible to purchase new. That'll work out just about as well as the drug war. There are already too many gun laws on the books and too many law enforcement agencies to enforce them. Ask any ATF agent if he thinks he's made a difference in getting illegal guns off the streets. If he tells you yes, he's fucking lying. His efforts haven't done anything, much like the efforts of the drug war. We've been spending hundreds of billions of US tax dollars to eradicate drugs, but I can still buy dope in any town in America. But you don't have to believe me, just ask any police officer. Better yet, ask any high school student, they'll confirm what I just said. You can make guns illegal, but what you will get is merely more futile police raids, which only serve the purpose of getting the chief a headline or two. Just like the drug war. Guns will be bought and sold on the black market just like drugs. I'll still be able to buy guns in any town in America, except much easier. There are no background checks or waiting periods on the black market. Many law-abiding people will become pseudo-criminals because they refuse to give up their weapons. Only law-abiding conformists will be unarmed. Next chapter. Paragraph. Chapter. Guns are important to country folk. The gun control debate is another classic example of the scholars and the rich inside the beltway not understanding the poor and uneducated. When you are poor, especially if you're from the country, your guns are very important to you. Often, poor people only have their land, their family, and their guns. And I would add religion. I assure you, they will fight you if you mess with either. They have nothing to lose. Guns are how they protect their family, and sometimes and often hunt for food. I'm not sitting here saying it's a survival situation, but when you're poor and from the country, that's how you look at it. Either way you want to read into what I've just said, it's important. Guns are necessary tools for living out in the country. Many country folks have been preparing for quite some time for the possible scenario of government agents showing up to take their weapons. You want to invoke a mini insurgency inside the United States? Go ahead and try to repeal the Second Amendment. The words God and Christmas have already been treaded on too much from the perspective of this demographic of people. Fuck with their guns and you may push the masses over the line. I strongly recommend against doing so because it could get ugly. If it came to an all-out brawl and some gun battles, do you really think a bunch of Ivy League FBI agents with their few months of firearms training would be successful against an entire demographic of citizens who have been shooting squirrels out of trees since they were 5 years old? Alright, don't mess with Texas. I would probably say that Texas will secede from the U.S. if severe gun control laws are enacted and then adopt an even stronger Second Amendment for their citizens. Personally, I'd love to see this happen. You feel like you're in a different country when you're in Texas anyway. The slogan, "Don't mess with Texas," applies to their guns as well. Alright, pure hypocrisy. President Obama has spoke frequently about change and has used that term in regards to the debate on gun control. I am curious about something though. When U.S. Army Sergeant Robert Bales walked into a poor Afghan village and gunned down innocent men, women, and children with his U.S. issued weapons, where was the outcry for change? There is an air of hypocrisy about this situation. There was no cry for change, gun control, or calls for an end to the war in Afghanistan when this incident happened. What message can one derive from this? That it's okay to massacre civilians as long as you're using a gun supplied by the U.S. government? There's no vice president appointed task forces needed on gun control for that one. Wrong color skin and they don't speak English anyway. Therefore, everyone's stocks are safe. Relax, everyone. We can keep building the guns, bombs, and bullets and bankrupting the taxpayers. The American public will forget about a few dead Afghan babies in a week or so. Fox News can spin it to where the sergeant is the victim because of PTSD. Get back to work on those M4s. Is that being a smartass? Well, absolutely it is. Okay, so yes, that's a bit condescending, but reality nonetheless. Young people from the inner cities have been affected by gun violence for decades. Young black males have been dying in disproportionate numbers on a routine basis. I guess they didn't rate a VP-led task force either. The hypocrisy. The root cause of gun violence in the United States. The U.S. government's sanctioning of violence in an effort to fuel the military-industrial congressional complex has created an air of confusion among our young people, especially those with weak and easily influenced personalities. When they see the U.S. government dishing out massive doses of violence in order to solve their disputes, what are they supposed to think? What do they derive from this? They deduce that violence is the appropriate way to handle their own disputes. It's mimicry. That's part of the problem. The U.S. government is leading by example. The problem is, it's a terrible example for our children. Bad karma. This is what a child must be thinking subliminally. The U.S. government addresses its problems with guns and violence, which they say is patriotic. Fox News says the military is killing insurgents, which is good. Hollywood makes every movie to where the good guy always wins by using guns and violence. My video game is about winning through violence, and winning is a good thing. So violence must be the way you solve problems and win in life. The second and third order effects of the military-industrial congressional complex lead to the social issues in America. First, the American taxpayer is having massive amounts of money extorted from him to pay for unnecessary military excursions. Therefore, dad has to work overtime at a part-time job on the weekends to pay the bills. In the America of today, most of the time, mom has to work as well. There are very few June Cleavers left in our country. This leaves their teenage son at home to raise himself on Call of Duty, Halo, and the other violently graphic video games. Hours upon hours of shooting at his friends while eating frozen Totino's pizzas and drinking Monster energy drinks. They have the house all to themselves with plenty of free time to browse dad's guns in the top of his closet in between games. Yes, I will contribute the violence in America to video games and Hollywood as well, but only as secondary contributors. The root cause of this social problem is the United States government and their waste of dad's tax dollars. They are stealing him blind to the point that he cannot properly raise his children. If dad had those tax dollars in his pocket instead of the government's accounts, mom could stay at home and not have to work. Traditional values could return to the family, such as eating together every night, discipline and parental involvement. Mom's guidance would be feared. If her words were not adhered to, dad would be home at a reasonable hour and deal with the problem. Want to know the secret element to controlling the violence in America today? Dad's belt. Yep, dad's belt is the answer. It is the answer to a problem of culture. The problem does not lie with guns, and the answer is not gun control. Gun control is the equivalent of the drug war, a tragic joke played on the taxpayers by Nixon. Dad's belt blistering the ass of a wayward child and then showing unconditional love is the change needed to stop school shootings. America needs a cultural change in how we raise our children. It starts with dad being present. It continues with dad properly governing his household. But dads in America really don't even have the authority to properly govern their household. If they spank a child, they could go to jail. Family law in the United States immediately removes the father from the daily lives of his children upon the wife filing for divorce. The father then becomes a guy that the kids see for 2 weekends a month who has no authority over them. Now, you really think that a woman can raise teenage boys on her own? They're hard enough for a man to control and influence. The U.S. government needs to stay the hell out of family business, period. In simple terms, gun violence is a result of the absence of fathers. The fathers are absent because they have to constantly work to pay excessive taxes to the United States federal government. They are stripped of their authority as a parent and removed from the home by illogical family law. You ponder that shit for a minute. So let me say it one more time. In simple terms, gun violence is a result of the absence of fathers. If you don't listen to anything else in this video, that's my point. How do you stop an active shooter? Until there is a cultural change in how we raise our children, I have to agree with the National Rifle Association on one point. The only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is to have a good guy with a gun show up. When you dial 911, do you want a cop showing up who's unarmed? In America, I don't think so. Would any cop in America even respond to a call without their weapons? Fuck no. They want to go home at night. Teachers and school administrators are generally good people. You trust them with your children every day, so you must have some faith in them. There would be no harm in arming them, even though it troubles me to think that our country has come to this. We've already armed our commercial pilots. So why not arm our teachers and our school administrators? Until there is a cultural change in how we raise our children, gun control laws should be abolished instead of tightened. Let every tax-paying citizen carry a gun if he or she chooses. Why? Because the current situation in America doesn't work. Dialing 911 does not stop the bad guy immediately. He can kill dozens before the first police officer arrives. A bartender armed with a Mossberg 12-gauge pump shotgun will stop a shooter immediately. It's merely common sense and logic. Try to think about it from a first-hand perspective. You're in a crowded movie theater with your children and someone starts shooting. Do you want to wait 5 to 10 minutes for a cop, or would you rather the guy next to you pull out a gun and protect you and your kids? Ponder that shit for a minute. Anti-violence task forces and the hair on my tits. I live in reality, unlike most politicians. The real police officers of America, local cops, they live in reality. They're the only ones truly qualified to even have the discussion about addressing this issue, and not the rich elite inside the Beltway. Local cops personally deal with these issues every day. What do rich politicians know about the streets of America, guns, criminality, the mentally ill, or violence? Absolutely nothing. So why would Vice President Joe Biden be the pivot man on this issue? Now folks, again, I wrote this back in 2012. I don't know, but it's both comical and disappointing. Nothing against the Vice President. I think he's a great guy and I'd love to have a few drinks with him. But he still doesn't know shit about how to address the issue of gun violence in America. U.S. government officials and politicians sipping on Starbucks inside the Beltway are just trying to justify their existence with any commentary on the violence occurring in America. They're just throwing shit at the wall, hoping something sticks when they get their name out there. Anti-gun violence task forces set up by politicians and U.S. government officials are about as useful as the hair on my tits. Simple. The Bill of Rights. The government has already infringed upon the First Amendment and freedom of speech by its attacks on Daniel Ellsberg, Julian Assange, Bradley Manning, John Kirakau, Edward Snowden, and many others. The American people have allowed this to happen without realizing that it directly affects their own individual rights. U.S. government's actions since 9/11 have seriously infringed upon our First, Fourth, Fifth, Sixth, and Eighth Amendment rights as well. Now the government is attempting to infringe upon the Second Amendment. So what's next? An entire repeal of the Bill of Rights? Address the root of the problem. Way on down the road. One final scary, theoretical, and conspiratorial thought is that if guns are severely restricted, and many years, decades down the line, the supply begins to dwindle, the criminal element might choose to further educate themselves on the use of improvised explosive devices, bombs. The materials required to make a small bomb are easily obtained and readily available. And personally, I would rather deal with an active shooter. At least I know where he is and where to go to stop him. A bomb is very difficult to detect. So you want to have real panic in our country? Have a quietly placed backpack blow up in an elementary school classroom and see what happens. The critics won't be able to blame the NRA for that one. Whose fault will it be then? Ask any cop, police officer, soldier, Marine, or anyone else responsible for confronting bad guys this question. Would you rather face a man with a gun or walk down a path that's potentially mined? Personally, I'll take my chances confronting the bad guy with the gun. The criminal element will adapt. They always do. So if the government creates this monster, don't say I didn't bring it up. Alright, the only task force needed. Gun control, that's infringing on a constitutional right whether you like it or not. How about military-industrial congressional complex control instead? That would be the more productive and adhere to the Second Amendment's well-regulated militia. As an American citizen, I would like to appoint President Barack Obama, the recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize, as the head of a task force on MIC control. If controls were enacted on the military-industrial congressional complex, the United States of America and the entire world would be a better place. Okay, what can you do? What can you do? What can you as a taxpayer do? Well, you can contact your U.S. Senator today and make an appointment with him or her. Demand that they cut government spending, stop these unnecessary military excursions, and give you back your money. That way, you can spend time raising your children. If you don't, violent video games in Hollywood will raise your children for you. If that's the case, then don't be surprised when they shoot up a school, a movie theater, or a nightclub when you and your spouse are at work. And believe it or not, the politicians do work for you. Raise your voice and remind them of that. If you have an opinion concerning gun control, I urge you to speak up and be heard. I urge the real cops of America, the people actually qualified to have an informed conversation on the matter, to speak up and become the driving force on the issue. The rich, elitist politicians inside the Beltway don't have the slightest clue. So you might think I'm a gun fanatic in disguise after reading this article. However, that assessment is the farthest thing from the truth. I actually consider myself a peace activist. I am strongly anti-war. I deplore violence. My personal opinion on guns themselves: I would eradicate every weapon from a handgun to nuclear bombs off the face of the earth if it were in my power. Unfortunately, that course of action is not steeped in reality. In the violence-plagued streets of the United States of America, guns are a necessary evil, and they also happen to be a constitutional right. This next paragraph: lead by example or shut the fuck up about gun control. If the President of the United States agrees to disarm his or her personal Secret Service detail, including those agents who watch over his or her family, then we should all seriously think about making some concessions. It would be time to listen. Until the President of the United States does that, I do not want to be lectured by anyone in the United States government about guns. You have no standing, in my opinion. That's pure hypocrisy in plain view. The ability of the average citizen to protect his family and defend himself or herself should be perfectly equal to the security of any government official. Okay, folks, and that was filed under philosophy and politics. That's the article. To summarize that, if you stop the video now, the root cause of this violence in America is the absence of fathers in our children's lives. A young male child needs a father. He needs a grandfather and a father, and probably a few uncles too, to influence that young male mind. And I'm gonna talk about that further because I have some notes on it. But that's in a nutshell. Cause of violence: absence of fathers. Until all government officials disarm their personal security details, don't fucking tell me to lay down my weapons. Your fucking family is no more important than my family or any other American's family. So until that happens, I don't want to hear anything from them. If they want to lead by example, then I'll start listening, and everybody else should start listening. But you want to tell the average American he can't have his weapons, and meanwhile you got nothing but automatic weapons protecting your family, your kids. No, motherfuckers, you don't get that much privilege. I don't give you that right. We don't give you that right. So consider that for a minute. Everybody inside the Beltway, disarm everybody inside the Beltway. All the personal security details, disband the Secret Service, get rid of them all. Then you can start lecturing American people about disarming them. Okay, folks, I'm gonna go to my notes now. I actually took some goddamn notes, and I have been drinking a little bit. What's new? It might be starting to rain on my head, but the link to the article is down in the description. And I started to edit it some more. I said, "Fuck it, I'll just put my thoughts here on video." All right, my friends, it started raining on me outside. I just moved my little operation indoors here. So I go to my notes now. That was the original article. Now I'm gonna go to my notes. Let's talk about who these shooters are. And this isn't in every case. And I haven't really done the research as in depth as I probably need to do, but I'm still gonna throw this out there about who these mass shooters are, specifically the school shooters, specifically the younger, these kids in their teens, 20s, early 20s. Folks, these kids that are doing this shit, they're not gun people. All right, and I'm gonna give you my definition of gun people in a minute, but these shitheads who walk into a school and start shooting at their fellow classmates, these are not gun people. They're not country people. They haven't grown up shooting guns their entire life. These are fucking Call of Duty shitheads. These are fucking skinny jean wearing, goddamn black hood, all black, fucking bones hanging out their nose, fucking social outcasts who have grown up playing fucking Call of Duty so much, 8 hours a day that it's fried their fucking brain. Just sitting there drinking fucking energy drinks to stay awake to fucking play this bullshit fucking video game. These kids aren't gun people. They're video game shitheads. And what's funny is back in my day, if you played video games, it meant you were a lazy piece of shit. Playing video games all day, that meant you were a lazy fucking couch potato with no fucking direction in life. If you were at the fucking 7-Eleven or the goddamn ice cream shop playing fucking Centipede all day, that didn't give you fucking credit in the world. You were a fucking shithead loser playing goddamn video games all day. And now we got a title for this shit called gamers. Folks, in my generation, okay, playing video games means lazy fucking shithead. And now, you want me to call you a gamer? Oh, he's a gamer. Oh, you mean he's a lazy fucking shithead that sits on the couch and goddamn drinks Monster Energy drinks and plays fucking video games. You're not impressed with me. I don't give a fuck if you did win a big fucking prize at a tournament. And it perplexes a dude like me because when video games came around, I didn't come to your fucking house because I wanted to watch you play games. Nobody came to anybody's house to watch somebody else play. They wanted to play them. And now we got a fucking industry and people are considering this a sport to go watch other fucking grown men play a goddamn video game. Not in my fucking day. In my day, you're a goddamn loser. And I damn sure didn't want to watch you fucking play. I'm ready for my turn. So these shitheads that are walking into schools and shooting their peers, they're video game shitheads. They're not gun people. Okay, they haven't been fucking shooting squirrels out of trees since they were 5 years old like I have. They raised themselves in the fucking basement, frozen pizza, mom and dad are working their ass off, and they're just in there all fucking wired in, goddamn programming their brain. And then they wonder why they can't find a girlfriend. That's who's doing this. Not in every instance, but there's no good thing, but a factor, I wouldn't say there's a good thing, there's no good to it at all. The factor in this is that you get these Call of Duty shitheads that go into, say, Columbine, and they kill however many kids they kill. They kill, I don't know, I don't have the reference material in front of me. But these Call of Duty shitheads say they kill 10 people. Because they're not gun people, they're not trained. They're trained on fucking little buttons and shit. But you take a group of fucking rednecks, if they try to pull off the same shit, the body count is gonna be 50. Because they know how to handle guns, they know how to shoot, they've been doing this entire fucking life. Alright, these assholes go out and get a fucking gun and go in there and spray and pray. So I just want to bring that up. People are so against the NRA But it's not NRA type people that are doing this shit. It's the Call of Duty shitheads. The Call of Duty skinny jean wearing fucking shitheads. And that's about what I think about it. Okay. I talked about the reason for this violence is the absence of fathers. My grandfather was teaching me about guns, and I shot my first squirrel out of a goddamn tree when I was 5 years old with a 22 single shot, break open rifle that my grandfather had since he was a kid. My grandfather taught me everything about shooting, about gun safety, about responsibility. Him teaching me how to hunt and how to shoot was more than just about guns. It was teaching me little things to think about, like, hey, we can't shoot in that direction. Why? Because, half a mile down there, there's a house. You don't shoot that direction. Okay, keep your finger off the trigger. If the weapon has a safety, keep the safety on. Okay, don't point that gun at anything you don't intend to fucking shoot. Okay? Let's not shoot this direction because that bullet's got to come down somewhere if you miss. Let's get this angle so there's no houses over here. Responsibility. You come back to the house, you clean that gun. You make sure it's unloaded. You put everything away. By him teaching me about weapons, he was teaching me responsibility and about life. And those guns went in the gun cabinet to the left of the TV. So every night I'm watching TV, I'm staring at the gun cabinet right there, full of guns. So I grew up a gun person. I grew up in, dirt road in Mississippi. Grew up and spent some time in Texas. But not once did I or any of my friends in the same demographic think about walking into a fucking school and shooting people. Never crossed our fucking minds. Never in a million fucking years. And I watched, Westerns with my grandfather. But the difference was that gun right there was part of our lives. And I was taught to respect weapons, to respect the gun, respect what a gun can do. When we went hunting, you saw what the gun could do. Those aren't the people walking into schools with that background and shooting up the place. It's shitheads who are raising themselves in a basement on a fucking video game, jacking off the midget porn. So I just wanted to delineate the difference. So to blame the NRA and to blame people who like to sport shoot, they like to hunt, they live in the country, or they just want fucking guns because it's their right. To blame them is useless. It's absolutely, it's just, it's illogical. But politicians, what do they have to do? They have to keep their fucking name in the press. So they got to jump on somebody. Shooting goes down, who the fuck they jump on? They jump on the NRA. Motherfuckers have no clue. So I was thinking, these background checks. Alright, background checks are pretty good. It's a cooling off period. So if you get pissed at somebody and you want to, you're really fucking pissed off, you're gonna go get a gun and kill them. Well, all right, a waiting period makes sense. Give you a few days to cool off. What's kind of funny, is the same thing happens on a marriage license. Hell, over here in the country I'm at right now, there's a cooling off period. Once you apply for the marriage license, it's days or a week, whatever, before you get it issued. It's a cooling off period. Make sure you don't fucking do something stupid. All that's good. But How do we weed out the Call of Duty shitheads? And this is what I come up with. I say, if you're gonna go buy a gun, you gotta be able to qualify. Just like a police officer or a soldier, Marine. So you do the regular background check, and then the guy says, all right, come on back here and see if you can qualify. And if you don't know the dangerous end of a gun from, if you don't know your way around that weapon, boom, you don't get that fucking gun. You didn't qualify. The guy goes in there, he qualifies, he knows about gun safety, okay, take the gun. That's gonna weed out the Call of Duty shitheads that have never picked up a gun before and prevent them from doing something stupid, buying the gun legally. So it's not gonna stop guns because there's fucking many millions of them out on the street on the black market. You can get a gun just as easy as you get a fucking sack of weed or goddamn 8 ball of cocaine. But to close the loophole on the legally purchased weapons, make that motherfucker qualify. You want a gun? All right, come on out back, Jack. If you don't shoot fucking 85 or above, you don't get this motherfucker. You can pay for it, but you can't pick it up and take it with you until you fucking qualify. That would add an extra little layer on that. I don't know if that's a good idea or not. But here's the thing. If you don't fucking know how to handle or shoot a gun, why the fuck would I want you holding one? I'm gonna sell you a fucking gun. You don't know how to shoot it. You're gonna put the thing in your purse and blow a hole in your fucking leg or shoot the guy in the next booth over when you're at fucking McDonald's. So that makes a lot of sense. Make a motherfucker qualify. All right, experts in these task forces. All right, first of all, and this is gonna cut deep on some people, no pun intended. Just because you get shot don't make you a fucking expert on guns, gun control, or anything else. It makes you a fucking gunshot victim. So all you gotta do is be at a location where there's a mass shooting, and now you're the fucking subject matter expert bringing awareness and you want gun control. Okay, let me enlighten you on something. If you were a shithead sitting in fucking McDonald's and somebody comes in and shoots 3 people and you're one of them, you're still the same fucking shithead that you were before you took that bullet in the leg. But now all of a sudden, because you got a bullet, the media is going to focus on you. Now you become a fucking gun control expert. And your voice is what's going to be fucking broadcast. Alright, I'm sorry, but just because you get shot doesn't make you an expert on criminality, psychology, on culture. It doesn't make you an expert on nothing. It makes you a victim of a fucking gunshot wound. That's it. Okay, now if you're an emergency room physician and you get shot, okay, well that just adds credibility because you're already a fucking expert on this stuff. If you're a police officer and you get shot, yeah, okay, it adds more, personal credence to why you want to discuss this. Right, but if you're a fucking high school student and you get fucking shot in the toe, you're not a fucking expert, dear. I'm sorry, I don't want to listen to you. My heart goes out to you because you got your fucking toe shot off or whatever happened to you. My heart goes out to you. It doesn't make you an expert about culture, criminality, guns, weapons. It just don't. So I think we need to we need to listen to these gunshot victims less unless they're already in a position because of their profession or their life experience to weigh in on it. But a 16-year-old, Sally, whoever, who just happened to be in the school when somebody got shot, I don't want to hear from you, dear. You just don't have anything to add to the argument. Yes, you were there. Yes, you probably saw some carnage. That doesn't make you an expert. We need to stop listening to the fucking people that were there with their fucking iPhone hiding under a desk. We know you're scared. That don't make you an expert on solving the problem. I know some people are gonna get pissed off. I don't give a fuck. People like street cops, emergency room doctors, teachers, school counselors, the people who talk to these fucking Call of Duty shitheads on a daily basis and are listening to their fucked up minds up until the point where they go out and do something. Judges. Let's get some retired judges. Some people with some fucking real life experience dealing, trying to dish out, I hate using the word justice, but a solution. Not sitting judges because they're fucking swayed by politics. Let's get some retired judges. So if I was going to form a task force, that's who it would be. Real cops, not fucking FBI agents sitting in their goddamn cubicle. I'm talking about if you go to work every night wearing fucking body armor and you goddamn sweat your balls off every night and your damn body armor stinks because you sweat in it every night. Okay, that's a real cop. A dude in a suit and tie sitting in a cubicle, no. You ain't got nothing to offer, bro. Sorry. So let's get some real cops, some emergency room doctors who see this shit every night, some teachers, and school counselors, and some judges. That's who I would use to form a fucking task force if I were going to try to debate this subject. Okay, I don't need anybody from the goddamn federal government. I'm sorry. You're just not in a position. You're not there. You don't see it. You look at spreadsheets. Well, we look at the big data. Who gives a fuck? All right, you need some people with real life experience. All right, one day of experience is worth all your fucking training. All right, that's just the way it is. So no politicians, no gun manufacturers, no lobbyists, special interest groups. Just put some real fucking people, some real Americans who are in a position to weigh in on it. All right, let's get rid of the word fucking terrorism. All right, there's too much time we try to spin and clarify. Was it an act of domestic terrorism? Was it this? Who gives a fuck? If somebody pulls out a gun and shoots you, it's the person is shot. We don't need to fucking try to put all these words in a box. Spend $100,000 doing research to figure out if we can call this domestic terrorism. Wasting your fucking time, money, and resources over fucking bullshit words. If somebody shoots me in the fucking leg, I don't care what he yelled before he did it. He shot me in the fucking leg. All right, that's it. Somebody shoots somebody and kills them, murder. Just leave it at that. Leave it at that. All right, let's not spend resources and money trying to classify how we're going to prosecute this bastard. I'm not saying let's not try to understand why that person arrived there. I'm saying let's not waste money just trying to fucking sort through reams of fucking books to figure out if this meets fucking take it back down to simplicity. All right, it's either fucking aggravated assault or whatever you want to call it, or it's fucking murder. Simple. Stop wasting fucking time and man hours trying to classify this shit with bullshit terms that we made up anyhow. Bullshit. All right, let's see. Moving right along. Shit, folks, that might be all. I'm looking at. Oh, here we are. No. Shit, I was looking at broccoli, chicken. I was looking at fucking dinner list. All right, going back to these video games. Look. I played some shoot 'em up games with my son at times when he was younger, a teenager. And I realize now we were just fucking wasting time. I wasn't teaching him anything. When you're that weekend dad, you try to do shit like that, even though I was wasting my fucking time, I wasn't teaching him anything. I was basically just enabling the laziness even further. Just showing them, yeah, it's okay to fucking lay around all night playing this stupid ass fucking game and eating frozen pizza. I should have been showing him my real fucking guns, showing him how to break them down, teaching him safety, teaching him how to clean them, and taking them to the range more. Or taking them fucking hunting, taking them in the woods instead of sitting there on a fucking couch doing this with my goddamn thumbs. Because I would have been teaching him the same things that my grandfather taught me. Attention to detail, responsibility, trust, safety, All of these fucking lessons that apply everywhere in life because you're dealing with real life. So, I'm not a fan of fucking video games. It's part of the fucking problem that enables fucking laziness and this psychosis that causes these shitheads to walk into schools and shoot them up. So I've already kind of talked about this. You're a gamer? Really? In my day, that word didn't exist. It just means if you played video games, you were a lazy piece of shit. Fucking loser and useless. That's what video games are to me. My generation, folks. But it teaches hand-eye coordination. Yeah, so does shooting squirrels out of trees with real fucking guns. Alright, let's talk about this. And this is what nobody ever wants to go, because these gun control debates, the relationship is whenever something happens and people start talking gun control, everybody goes out and buys guns. So the gun manufacturers love it. They act like they don't. They act like they don't want people to talk about gun control. But when people start talking about gun control, it raises an element of sales called scarcity. Holy shit. You know, they might pass a law. I can't buy this. I got to go buy it now. So every time there's an incident, there's actually a spike in gun sales. Every time we talk about gun control, people go out and buy more guns. So the manufacturers have to act like they're scared of gun control, but they love it. It perpetuates the cycle. So that's kind of off topic, but the point is guns are investments to a lot of people. Well, to anybody, they're an investment. You take a gun, you buy it, chances are if you keep it in good condition, it's not going to lose value. You're going to get your money back. It's going to appreciate in value. So all of our citizens who have spent thousands and thousands of dollars on their guns, who keep them in pristine condition, they clean them every night. They keep them, in a big ass safe. If you're going to pass some legislation that say they have to turn in those guns, you're taking money out of their pocket. You're taking potentially, tens of thousands of dollars out of the average person's pocket that he or she invested money for a long-term investment. So what are you going to do? You're going to buy them all back? These buyback programs? We don't got the fucking money. We're $22 trillion in debt already. You don't got the money to fucking buy them back. So what are you going to do? Just take them and steal another $10,000, $20,000 from, Joe Blow citizen's pocket because he put all his money in guns instead of fucking Bitcoin? All right. You haven't thought that far ahead, because in reality, the fucking politicians, they don't give a fuck anyhow. They just want to get their name out there. Anytime something comes up, blame each other, rattle, so they can try to fucking get reelected. That's reality. But do you think people are voluntarily going to turn in items of value when a gun? I say an average gun costs $500. You think I'm going to give you fucking $500? Or am I going to keep it and be a pseudo criminal just by possessing what used to be legal? Guns are a better investment than stocks, bonds. They're not going to tank. They stay the same or appreciate, most of them, unless you beat the hell out of it and the condition's not good. So how do we come across that? For all you politicians out there, what's your plan? You going to buy back all these weapons? Like I said, you ain't got the money. We're already $22 trillion in debt because you motherfuckers can't balance a checkbook. So you ain't thought that far. In actuality, you don't give a fuck anyhow, but you ain't got no plan. Folks, this is cultural. People shoot each other over the simplest of disputes. I mean, standing in line at fucking Walmart, bumping fucking grocery shopping carts into one another, looking at somebody the wrong way at a stoplight. This is America. Welcome to America. Is that a gun problem? I don't think it's a gun problem. I think that's a cultural fucking problem. Because I've been in a lot of places in the world, and it just don't happen like that. People aren't so quick to get angry at their fellow man to the point that they fucking start shooting or it goes to blows. And a lot of these countries are much more densely populated than the US. But they don't behave the way Americans behave towards one another. I will say this, you could go to a lot of countries and arm every citizen, and there wouldn't be these mass shootings. There wouldn't be these daily random acts of gun violence. Because they just don't think that way. The culture just doesn't, it's just not part of the culture. So this is a cultural problem in the United States. All right. I think one of the reasons too, I was sitting there thinking, why are Americans so quick to get fucking pissed off at one another? Look, I was just writing down shit, that I used to be under stresses of in America. You're thinking about your mortgage. How am I going to pay my mortgage? You're worried about your 401k, your retirement, your health insurance, your Social Security, some meaningless fucking promotion at work. Democrats versus Republican. Fox News versus CNN. Okay, nobody's hungry in America. If you're hungry, it's because you fucking want to be and you're too lazy to fucking go get some free food down at the church or fill out fucking forms. It's the everyday stress in America of the system enslaving you with all these fucking bills. So everybody's already on edge because you're already overspent, you're already in debt, you're in credit card debt. All this shit is going through your mind constantly. You're already pissed off, and then some guy fucking bumps into you at Walmart and even just sends you over the fucking line. So part of it is the system that we've become enslaved to. We always say, you're slave to the machine. So all that stress, but again, it has to go back with the money. Why weren't these mass shootings and shit going around up until when did it really start? Fucking 90s? Well, in the 50s, a lot of moms stayed home. Dad had one job, mom stayed home. I don't know anybody now in America that the wife don't work. All right, let's go on. All right, so a lot of this is self-created stress, but a lot of it is just the basic tenets of living in America and things you have to have. You got to have a car, which means you probably got a car payment, you've got car insurance, you've got all these fucking bills that put you on a hair trigger. That's something as simple as road rage and people pull out guns and start shooting. Alright folks, I want to welcome you back to the continuation of this discussion. I guess about a week has went by since I did the first portion of this video. And even I can't even get this video finished, and there's already been a couple more shootings. I don't even know the whole story behind this jackass in Odessa, Midland, wherever it was in Texas. I can't even make a fucking video. I can't even complete a video about this topic before another fucking incident goes down. So I'm going to try to fight through this today and get this thing done before any more mass fucking shootings go off. So I can put my own personal message out there. But it's beyond the point of ridiculousness. Yeah, drinking a good cold beer. Got my baby boy right here, sleeping while all the ladies and everybody's out at the market. And the damn power went out for like an hour. So we were chilling outside anyhow. So he's sleeping. It's nice and quiet in the house. I figured let me try to get another portion of this video done. But if I had to guess, my ladies are going to get back and be noisy. And probably by the time I pick this up and finish it tomorrow, if I don't get it finished today, there'll probably be another fucking shooting. So where I left off, I was talking about triggers. Why are Americans so quick to start shooting at one another? to break bad on each other. And I was talking about all the stresses that go with being a slave to the machine in America. All of these bills and all of these issues and all of these the aspects of American life is constantly flowing through your head, especially if you're broke, you're behind on your rent, you're behind on your car payment, you're behind on your mortgage. This shit don't leave your head. And if you're about to get foreclosed on, this is a constant 100% of your time, just ton of bricks down on your shoulders. So you're worried about all this shit constantly, and basically what it does, it puts you on a hair trigger. That the least little thing is going to send you over the edge, because you're already on edge. All this stress. My car's about to get repossessed. I might get fired at work. I didn't get that promotion. My fucking mortgage is 3 months late. You're going to foreclose. What am I going to do? You know, my wife filed for divorce. She's going to get on my pension, child support, alimony. You know, my life is crumbling down, and then boom, here comes this jackass at Walmart, bumps into you with his grocery cart. Or boom, some guy cuts you off in traffic. Somebody looks at you the wrong way. It just fucking sets people off. I think that's, I'm not making excuses, I'm just saying these are among the various causes. Whereas in a lot of other countries less fortunate than the United States, they're just thinking about getting something to eat that day. As long as they got something to eat, they're okay. Yeah, there's stresses of, are we gonna, you know, have enough money to buy food? But once they get something to eat, okay, it's a good day. In America, there's probably 18 problems going through your mind at all times. It just puts us on a hair trigger when we're over there living as slaves to that machine. Now, what I was going to talk about, and this is not really clear. Like, I couldn't put this in like a box, so it's just going to be discombobulated about how I address this issue. And like, some mass shootings start out mass murders, you know, 2 or 3 people get killed, what have you. And what I'm trying to come up with is there's reasoning behind it. It's an evil reasoning, but there's logic to it. In other words, there's a reason why this happened. And some things, we just struggle to figure out the reason why they happen. So I'm just going to go down a list and just spark a debate about things to me that are pretty clear. It's pretty obvious how this shit breaks out. And so you can, when it's obvious and it's logical, then you know what the problem is, and you can start trying to formulate a solution. So let me just go for it. So what I was talking about is like, okay, say a domestic violence incident where you take a man, his wife files for divorce, or he catches her cheating, or a woman, I can go either way. Incidents happen both ways, but predominantly it's the man who ends up doing the shooting. But you take a guy who catches his wife cheating, or she files for divorce, she's taking away the kids. All right, so this dude's life is crumbling down on his ass. And for whatever reason, out of anger, just a feeling of impending doom, or his life's coming to an end. All right, he picks up a gun, you know, shoots his spouse, shoots her family members. At that point, he's got nothing to live for. He just drives around and starts shooting people. The cops end up greasing him. Okay, obviously the whole situation is evil, but it's something that you can understand why he did it. He did it because of personal reasons. He didn't just go crazy. He did it basically out of anger and just a feeling of desperation. So you pretty much know if a husband kills his wife or her mother, you know, the mother-in-law, and then goes out, okay, you know what sparked it. So we know that the root cause, well, maybe not the entire root, but the factor was the domestic situation. So you look at that. How did this man get to that? How did a normal working guy who's been on his job for 15 years suddenly snap and just go crazy and start killing some folks? And then you can look at how to address that. How can we mitigate this where this shit stops happening? Because domestic violence, this is people getting locked up every day. Every minute in the United States, somebody's going to jail for domestic violence in some form or fashion. Whereas in other countries, domestic violence or domestic issues aren't treated in the same sense. And without trying to sound like an asshole or condone this, I guess what I'm saying, in other countries, if people just yak each other, that's their business. The cops don't get called, neighbors don't get involved. If they're just yakking each other, let them work it out. Words ain't never hurt nobody in a physical sense. If it comes to blows, that's a different story. If it comes to physical violence, that's a different story. But in America, if you're having an argument with your wife, dial 911. Somebody's calling 911. Let's bring the cops and the fucking government into our argument. That's just an escalation of the emotions and an escalation of the impending violence that's going to come. You're having an argument, a discussion with your wife, and next thing you know, the cops show up. Like, what the fuck is going on here? And now your name's on a police report. That just pisses you off even worse. That's not helping the situation. So what I have observed from being a cop, from responding to this shit, and having to deal with what the parameters of the law in the U.S. was and is, and then going to other countries and seeing the way shit is handled, the system in the U.S. is the worst. If a man and his wife are having a fucking argument, let them argue. They'll work it out. Now if they go to blows, well, that's when people intervene. And from what I've seen in other countries, it's better if the family intervenes. Man and woman want to argue, let them handle their business. Man hits the woman, her brother comes over and beats the shit out of them. They work it out within the family. And you can say, oh, that's barbaric. Okay, well, maybe it is. But folks in other countries aren't going out and getting a gun and killing everybody in the family and going on a shooting spree. That's the United States. So what does it tell you is that our system doesn't work. Our system is the worst. I like the way things are handled in many other countries. And we'll just leave it at that. No, I'm not condoning any type of violence. I'm not condoning anybody's rights over another. I'm condoning common sense that when two people cohabitate, occasionally they're going to have disputes. They're going to have arguments. They may raise their voice. They may say things they're going to regret later on and apologize for. It doesn't require the government to come get involved because that just escalates it. It just makes a motherfucker pissed off even worse. And so I think that's part of the problem. When it comes to a domestic violence situation that escalates into shootings and mass shootings where he kills her family, and goes out and shoots some innocent people and eventually gets engaged by the police. So we obviously have a problem there, the way the government gets involved in our domestic affairs. And I think it's way overkill and contributes to the problem. People agree to get married, they need to handle 99% of their disputes themselves or amongst their family. They don't need to be calling 911, for me and the J-Dog to come over there and listen to your bullshit story, arguing about, who spent how much money at fucking Walmart, and, she bought the fucking expensive towels and he told her to get the fucking cheap towels, and they're arguing. Why the fuck you need 2 armed cops to come over there and deal with your fucking shit? Well, that's the culture. Anytime somebody, they get into a dispute in America, dial 911. Let's get the government involved. Horrible, horrible system. Horrible system. People think we need more cops in America. We need less cops. Less law enforcement, and let family handle family business. Let the streets handle the streets, and America would be a better place. I used to believe, hey, we need more cops, we need more people on shit. No, we don't. We need less motherfuckers. Less people. And let the community handle the community. Let family handle family. Like in a lot of these other countries, it'd be a hell of a lot more peaceful place. It might be a spike initially, and then guess what? There will be some equilibrium. But as you know, the current system ain't working. From mass shootings to just violence in the streets, crime, it don't work. It don't work. Go to the Middle East, go to Abu Dhabi or Dubai. How much crime is there? Fucking zero. Zero. And that's to the extreme the other way. But you go over there, stay in line, it's fucking peaceful. You ain't got to worry about nobody stealing shit out of your car. My buddy Pablo lost his fucking wallet at a mall in Dubai. And we all thought, man, that wallet's gone. In a matter of 2 hours, that wallet was down and lost and found. That's the way things work over there. I don't agree with everything, but I'm just using that as an example. Because there's repercussions. No need to call the cops. No need to do all that shit. The wallet showed up on its own. The streets handle the streets. And law enforcement is seldom involved, and if they are, it's fucking severe. It's a much better system than you arguing with your fucking wife about, you know, her sister borrowing the car, and now you're fighting and arguing, and you got to call the police. A couple young bucks like me and the J-Dog back in the day got to come over and listen to your shit. Write it down in a fucking report, which is public record, that you, Joe Blow, and Sally were arguing about her spending too much money on the fucking towels at Walmart. Now the whole world knows how fucking stupid you sound. But that's the system. So that long diatribe is basically to say domestic violence, mass shootings that occur, we understand the logic in it. I'm not condoning it. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying if I'm looking at it and say, all right, let's take this timeline back. What happened? Why did this guy, assumably normal dude, snap and go off? Well, it's because he caught fucking Sally fucking his next door neighbor. She said, fuck you, I'm going to file for divorce. He knows he's going to get kicked out. She's going to get the kids, all his money, alimony, child support, and she'll still be fucking the next door neighbor in his house, in his man cave. And don't take a rocket scientist to figure out what set that gentleman off. Again, don't agree with what he did, but if you're trying to figure out why, you know the why. Let's deal with those issues of how he got to that point. Because this system ain't working. It ain't worked for decades. That system's not working. That system is broken. We all know this. But nobody wants to put their ass on the line and stand up and say, you know what, you bitches, ain't no more free money. Ain't no more automatically getting a kid and turning guys like me into weekend dads that the kids don't even know. Nobody wants to stand up and put their fucking nuts on the line, because you ain't got no nuts, and say all this shit about giving women free shit after we divorce and giving them the kids automatically is fucked up and we're going to change it. Hell no. Most American males are more afraid of their wife than they are going to war. They're more afraid of their wives than they're afraid of the United States government, IRS, cops, anybody else. They're scared of their fucking wives. It shouldn't be like that. You want everything to be 50-50? Okay, well, men shouldn't be afraid of their wives, but that's what it's come to, because they know they're going to get all the money and the kids and get booted out of their house. Some people can't handle that stress. Some people can't just let it go. And if you read my book, The King's Chronicles, there's a chapter in there about what to do if this happens. And I basically tell men, give that bitch everything, go get you a damn apartment and just let it go. And be the king of your new fucking apartment and start running some bitches and get some new girlfriends, and go forward in your life. Because she's going to get it. You are not going to win against a woman in court in the United States. She is going to get everything. From your money, your pension, your house, the cars, the kids. You can't fight it. There's no use in getting angry and picking up a gun and shooting people. Because you can continue your life just by saying, you know what? It's like Marco said, the bitch is going to get everything. Fuck it. Let me go get my new pad and my goddamn lawn furniture and a big screen TV, and let me fucking get online and meet some new bitches and start running bitches in and out of my place and live my life. Because the system has taken me out. You didn't voluntarily remove yourself as being a father. The system took you out against your will. And it's so bad in America that if you try to show up at your kid's fucking, football game or daycare just to say hello, you can go to jail. Because it's not your day. Your visitation's next weekend at 6 p.m. And I'm calling the police. And you're going to go to jail. For what? Trying to stop by and see your kid? Ridiculousness. Moving right along. Anyhow, in those mass shootings, not condoning it, but there's logic as to why it happened. You can understand what set that guy off. School shootings, this is one of those that, with the Call of Duty shitheads, how do you try to make sense of why the shithead walked in there and did this? I guess you gotta just revert back on this video where I talk about the Call of Duty shitheads and how they got there, their mindset. There is no fucking logic to it where you can nail it down and say this is why he did it. Maybe in these cases where the kid he lost his girlfriend. All right, he lost his girlfriend, it fucking set him off. He couldn't handle the stress. But these jackasses that just walk in there for really no specific reason or cause or anything else, it just goes back to what I said earlier about how their brain is wired from these fucking video games, too much fucking sugar and shit from these energy drinks, hiding out in the basement. Is there logic to it that you can say, okay, this is the reason this kid did this? Well, if a guy catches his wife screwing around on him, okay, that's the trigger. Pretty obvious, that's the trigger. He went to work, he was fine. He comes home, he catches his wife in bed, boom, starts shooting. That's a trigger. Open and shut case, right? These shitheads walking into schools, what's the trigger? That is the difficult part with these school shootings, is saying at what point did this little Call of Duty shithead get triggered to do this? Because there's millions of kids that play video games and they don't walk into a school and start shooting. So what was the fucking trigger that set this shithead off, but don't set the rest of the lazy motherfuckers sitting around doing this with their thumbs? And that's hard to put in a box. That's hard to say this is the trigger. That's a situation, the school shootings, kids walking in and shooting their peers, that can be debated till the end of time. My argument is the root cause is the lack of fathers, grandfathers and uncles influencing that young male mind to where he would never do some shit like that, even if he's mad, because he would disappoint his father, his grandfather, and his uncles. Number one, they didn't teach him like that. They didn't raise him like that. But number two, he would have people that if he did have these thoughts, he would never do, because he has father figures to disappoint. So I'm going to argue the only logic and the only reasoning explanation in those situations is it's a lack of fathers. a lack of, and if they do have fathers in their house, the father is not present enough to be able to influence that young male mind. Now, the dad might be the greatest dude on earth, works 2 jobs, 3 jobs to make ends meet, gives him everything he needs. He's the one who paid for that fucking game system down there when he's fucking doing this, shooting at his friends. But the problem is dad ain't present. He's not spending enough time. If he's there an hour at night, there on Sundays, and the kid's gone, you're not spending time with your kids. You're not present. You would be better off moving out of the $400,000 house, moving into a $125,000 ranch house. Stop working your overtime, quit your part-time job, and spend time with your kids. Then they'll stop walking into schools and fucking shooting up the place. It's a lack of fathers. And why? Again, it's because of a one-sided, a lot of times when there is no father in the house, it's because of the one-sided, biased, fucked up domestic law, family law that we have in the U.S. That if you piss off a woman, you're out of your own house and you become a weekend dad with no authority. How did we get to that fucking model? Fucking perplexing. Alright, moving right along. I got some notes here. I'm trying to stay on. Okay, let's talk about the mental health issue. Folks, sometimes normal people go crazy. And I'm not using that figuratively. I'm using that literally. Okay, these mental illnesses are real. I'm not saying, oh my, my ex-wife is crazy. Well, all women are crazy. But that's more figuratively, right? Maybe not my first one, but anyhow, the point is, you can take a perfectly normal person functioning in society and something physically, because we say mentally, and when we separate mental from physical, it's all physical when this happens. When a person develops some type of mental illness, schizophrenia, becomes bipolar, these things are physical because there is a physical change going on in their brain. Now, I'm not talking about somebody who gets mad at society. I'm talking about when people start hallucinating and seeing things that are not there. That's not mental to me. That is physical. That is a physiological change going on in their brain, causing them to see things that aren't there, but to them it's real. So I think we've really fucked up on our classification of mental illness versus physical illness. If a kid's just not getting their way at home, okay, that's a mental illness, and they're constantly throwing a fit, that's mental. That's just in their mind. It can be corrected. A person with schizophrenia that is seeing people that aren't there, that is a physical problem in the brain. It is often suppressed with medication, but it is not curing that underlying problem. So the minute they don't take their meds, here come the imaginary friends. I think it's hard for the average person to really understand the seriousness of this, because they don't understand how real an hallucination or a delusion is. Now, hallucinations are when you see something that's not there. Okay, delusions, you hear or think something is not there. Maybe I fucked up the textbook of it, but when I used to be a paramedic and I dealt with folks with these types of issues, hallucinations and delusions, I didn't understand it. I didn't see the seriousness of it. I'm just like, no, there's nobody there. Yeah, he's sitting right over there. I see him. You're like, Jesus, shut the fuck up. You're not bleeding. You don't have any broke bones. Come on, get in the ambulance and take you to see Dr. Nut Nut. But a couple years ago, and I wrote a blog post about it, you know, I've always been a hard drinker. If you ain't figured that shit out, I don't make no bones about it. I'm not an alcoholic. I can quit whenever I want to. I enjoy drinking. I love partying. I love the taste of beer and whiskey. Don't apologize. But I had a good run for several years, drinking every day, and then I decided to quit one day. I quit cold turkey. A few days later, I woke up in the middle of the night and I saw a fucking burning bush over in the corner of my room next to the bed. And at first I thought I was dreaming until I realized I wasn't. And you can read the article. It's called If You Quit Drinking, Watch Out for the Burning Bush. Maybe I'll put the link in the description, but you can Google it, shit, it'll come up. And I basically stood there and I watched this burning bush, which was like a vortex tornado of flames from the ceiling to the floor. I looked over, my girlfriend was asleep. I started to wake her up because I was like, what the fuck is that? And then I realized, I come to my senses, I said, motherfucker, you're hallucinating. That's an hallucination. And it was so fucking real that I just sat there and I watched it. And it was so real that I felt like if I went over there and touched it, it'd cut my fucking hand or burn my finger. And I probably stared at it for like 5 minutes to make sure I wasn't dreaming. I was like, fuck, let me go in the fucking bathroom, take a piss, wash my face. I came back out, it was gone. And I said, holy shit, that was real. And I'm assuming it was a side effect of drying out, you know, whatever. And it was at that point that I realized how real these hallucinations and delusions are to these folks that start having this issue. You know, thankful for me, that was a one-off. It ain't never happened again. And I chalk it up as, hey, I needed to run the coke real quick. But I'm glad it happened to me because now I understand the realness of what these folks are telling you. To them, it's fucking real. That damn burning bush was real. And so when this illness, and I'm calling it a physical illness, it's not mental. Mental means my girlfriend throws a tantrum. My old lady throws a tantrum. That's mental. It's temporary. It can be corrected. It's behavioral. Physical illness of the brain causes people to see things that aren't there and become so paranoid that they start gathering weapons. How do you predict that this is going to happen, and how do you combat this? And I would say this is just one that cannot be combated unless that person starts going to a psychologist, and then the psychologist knows what's coming down the road. I'll tell a story. Me and a buddy of mine years ago, and this is no need to name names or locations. Normal functioning person in society rolled into my buddy's place one night covered in mud, branches. I mean, looked like he had been crawling through a fucking ditch. Now imagine if one of your friends or your wife came in and was covered in mud from head to toe, you know, lost his shoes, whatever, her shoes, and come in. What are you going to say? You're going to be like, what the fuck happened to you? You know what? You're like laughing like, God damn, man, you got fucking mud all over you. And then this individual tells you a story. Hey, I left the bar last night and I killed somebody. And I had to run through the woods. I lost my shoes. I've been trying to get away from the cops all night. And they tell you that it's so fucking serious. And you're staring at this person who was missing in action last night, got mud, fucking, you know, branches, dirty as fuck, lost his shoes. All of a sudden you're like, holy fuck, man, what the fuck happened? And they tell you this most detailed story. so detailed and so convincing that you're scared. You don't know what to do. Because your buddy just told you, hey man, I killed somebody. And you have no idea what to do. You don't know whether to call the cops, call this guy a lawyer. You have no idea, because in your mind at that point you have no idea that this is physical changes taking place in your buddy's brain out of the blue. You had no signs, there was no symptoms coming up. Yes, our buddy was a drinker. We all drank. We all drank. We just, he drank around the house. He very rarely went out. He just drinking some beer after work. And then he comes in and tells you this. And for a while you believe this. And then, as you see them take certain actions, you start to think, wait a minute. Our very normal buddy is experiencing some issues with the brain. What you would say mental health issues, I'm arguing they are physical health problems in the brain. And that's what happened. Make a long story short, extremely bipolar, schizophrenic, institutionalized, out of society. Not sure if the guy's still alive or not. That's how it happens. And those individuals are walking among us every day. And so, to reference that Las Vegas shooting, no, I don't go in depth on the research. I read some of the articles just so I know what's going on. I don't listen to the news and all these fucking experts and their opinions. But last I heard, there was no clear motive for this guy. But me looking at the facts that were presented at the time, this guy is the same that happened to our buddy. He was a normal, functioning member of society. This illness, looking back with our buddy, this illness was creeping up. But a lot of times it's medicated by alcohol, just self-medication, just drinking, trying to suppress the feelings and the thoughts. Or if you do go see a doctor, they prescribe some type of Xanax or some shit like that. It suppresses it, but it's not correcting the fact that this is a physiological issue that's getting worse. And at some point what happens is the medication and the booze can't suppress it anymore. And it's just, everything is so fucking real, they start gathering weapons and they think the world's coming after them. It's the paranoia that goes along with it. Again, I don't know, folks, I'm not an expert. I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a doctor. I don't know all the facts about what happened in Las Vegas, but just outsider looking in, it seems to me that gentleman was having these issues and he got to the point where he couldn't control it with either meds, booze, gambling, whatever he was using to control those hallucinations and delusions, and it sent him over the line and he did what he did. Those types of people, how do you prevent that? So if you take the gun thing out of the equation, right? How do you predict that a person, normal functioning member of society, is going to go crazy and do something at some point? Whether they commit suicide, they jump off a bridge, or they just go crazy. No violence involved. How do you predict that? Unless they're seeing a doctor, I don't think we can. Maybe the people closest to that person is seeing some changes, but you're not going to see them till late, because if this is your buddy, your drinking buddy, you're always drinking, maybe you know or don't know that he's popping some Xanax. It's late in the game before even close family members realize there's a problem, and he's just not, being eccentric, or that's just the way he is. That topic there, and this is going to go along with when I talk about school counselors. The only way to combat this is to change the ethics of our psychologists, our school counselors, and physicians. Right now, ethics are what? There's a doctor-client privilege, doctor-patient privilege. Well, obviously you want that. You want to be able to walk in and tell the guy your problems and not have him repeat it. But when a guy goes in there and starts talking the way he's talking, and a psychologist, through his expertise and training, knows that this guy is at some point going to be prone for violence, boom. That's when the traditional ethics that we've been using for decades go out the fucking window. Because now it's a fucking safety issue for the rest of the public. At that point, the psychologist, even if, and I'm going to argue this now, if you're a psychologist or a school counselor and you're talking to one of these kids, whether they're just a fucking Call of Duty shithead that's prone to do something like this, or it's a 45-year-old patient who is just talking and exhibiting some signs that you think is going down that route, it's time to grab a set of fucking balls and say something. The ethics right now ain't changed. I'm arguing that we change the ethics so you don't have to make this decision. That you just automatically do it and that's part of your fucking job to protect the public. Well, what I am going to argue right now is until those ethics change, you need to change your own personal morals. Morals are within you. Ethics are part of a fucking institution's beliefs. You need to grab a set of balls. You need to call the damn sheriff's office and say, hey, I have a patient and he might fucking sue me till the end of time for breaching this shit, but this motherfucker just told me he bought some guns and y'all need to get over there right now and take his guns because he is fucking prone to be shooting somebody. And if you get sued, so be it. Let me sit on the jury because I will award that motherfucker 0 for you erring on the side of safety. Safety for my kids. If you're a school counselor and you get it wrong and they sue you, so be it. Let me sit on that jury. I'll get that motherfucker 0. What's more important, this motherfucker's feelings or the kids in the school trying to fucking do their math problems and some shithead rolls in with a goddamn rifle and starts shooting? Folks, there comes a time when silence is betrayal. And if you're a school counselor, you're a psychologist, and you know this motherfucker is prone and is about to shoot up the goddamn place, or you get that feeling in the back of your head, you're not getting that feeling out of the blue. You're getting that feeling based on experience, previous experiences, previous patients, whatever, and you're like, wait a minute, this is one. Pick up the fucking phone and put your money where your mouth is. That needs to be the shift and the trend. If you don't got the balls to lay down your name, then fucking leave some anonymous shit. I don't care. Silence is betrayal. Co-workers, they may sense something's going on, but they're not psychologists. They haven't dealt with this before. You can't blame them. We got a lot of strange motherfuckers in the world, right? Don't make them violent or mean they're ever going to get violent. It's very hard for the normal person to pick this out. They know something's wrong with this dude, but you as a psychologist or a school counselor, you fucking know. Or if you're a teacher to this kid and you see him every day and how he's interacting with the other kids, you fucking know. Fuck the lawyers. Fuck the lawsuits, whatever. If you're scared of a lawsuit, just remain anonymous. But if it were me, I'll grab a set of balls, I'll put my name on the report. I don't give a fuck if they just bar me, pull my fucking medical license. I don't give a fuck. You want the guilt of keeping your license and not saying nothing and letting this motherfucker walk in and kill 10 babies? Well, fuck your license. I ain't going out like that. I gotta sleep at night. So if I was a psychologist, I'm a school counselor, and I feel this kid's gonna shoot up the school, I'm gonna grab a set of balls, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. And if there's some consequences, so be it. You can drag me into court, I don't give a fuck. What you gonna do? Take my license? I don't give a fuck. I know how to hang sheetrock. I go to Home Depot and work on the fucking plumbing aisle with a clear conscience and I can sleep at night. You can't do the same. if you keep that mouth shut. All right, moving right along. Mental health. The Call of Duty shitheads, I'd say, is mental, because they've programmed themselves. People like the Las Vegas shooter, in my opinion, it's a physiological change that went on in his brain, dealt with it with gambling and booze or whatever he did, and then he got to the point he couldn't handle it. All right, let's see. Already talked about that. Yeah, folks. Folks like that Vegas dude, like our buddy, when they get to that point, they're not in control anymore. The hallucinations and the delusions are controlling them. So you say, how's a normal dude do this shit? He's being guided and controlled by things that he or she perceives to be so fucking real that it's reality. Now, let's move along. Let's talk about like gang shootings. Bloods versus the Crips, all that shit. When people, there's multiple shootings. They're fighting over turf. They're fighting over, their colors, their little, red versus blue handkerchiefs, whatever. All this is childish and unnecessary. Acting like a bunch of children. Oh, you're wearing a red bandana, so I got to shoot at you. It's childish, but you understand the logic. What's the trigger of this guy shooting at this group of people? Well, he's programmed in his mind that they're wearing a red bandana. He's got a blue one, so he's got to get some street cred and shoot at him. So at least you can put your finger on why those types of shootings happen. They're fighting over turf. They're fighting over who's going to sell crack on this corner. You're wearing red, I'm wearing blue. We band together, for protection, and now we gotta. It's childish. It's grown adults acting like children, but you understand it, why they did it. There's a shooting. There's a little small childish reason. Guy wanted cred, street cred, or they were dealing dope on the wrong corner. You understand the trigger. We talked about domestic violence. Understanding the trigger. Random shit. I think a lot of random shit goes back to the stress of putting and being on a hair trigger because of the stresses and all the things that we're slaves to in America. Slaves to that machine of mortgage, payments, car payment, all these fucking payments. You're constantly going through your head when you're behind. And so a lot of the random stuff, it just sets people off at random. It's because they are so stressed with that, and then their wife leaves them, and then boom, you look at the guy wrong at the red light, he's got a gun and goes off. All right, folks. Next topic would be, let's just talk about how ridiculous blaming guns are for the violence. And while I was researching this, now I've already said, illegal drugs are illegal. You can still buy coke on every school in America. You can buy cocaine. Methamphetamine is illegal. We've got all these agencies and all these billions of dollars worth of equipment combating illegal drugs. You can still buy drugs anywhere in America. It's a joke. Banning guns, making them illegal will be the same joke. You'll still be able to buy guns, you'll just be able to do it easier because now there are no legal places to do it. It's all on the black market, right? It's easier to buy drugs than it is beer. Why? Because you can buy beer legally, but you got to be 21. So if a kid wants to get beer, he's got to go fucking pay somebody that's 21 to go buy him a 6-pack. If he wants an 8-ball of cocaine, the 16-year-old can go buy that on his own. Okay, well right now there's guns on the black market, but traditionally a person would go straight to a gun shop if you don't know anybody. Hey, you gotta be 18, you gotta be 21, we gotta do a background check. Fuck. Take away the legality of buying guns, there's no more question. There's dudes everywhere selling guns, just like they're selling dope. It's an industry, it's money, supply and demand. Your drug dealers will just now double as gun dealers, 50-50. Some of them doing it now, but not everybody. But you know, the old thing when the dude's got a trench coat, like, psh, hey buddy, you wanna buy a watch? There'd be motherfuckers walking around with trench coats with goddamn handguns there. Psh, hey buddy, wanna buy a fucking Glock? That's all you're gonna do. All you dumbass politicians out there talking about this gun control and, oh, we're gonna do buyback programs, we're gonna do it. You motherfuckers have no clue. You have studied nothing about the drug war. You got no fucking clue. And from this guy sitting outside, the brief shit that I read about you motherfuckers, you are some comical children. You are fucking just comical fucking children. 55-year-old men acting like fucking children. Arguing, throwing this shit out there that ain't gonna work. You make me, I mean, it's fucking, I like to drink a few beers and just read an article about one of you motherfuckers. God damn, how the fuck did anybody like you get elected? And then I realized, what's the majority of you motherfuckers? And then I go back to what I think about politicians in general. They're criminals who we've enabled to act like children. And I fucked that up. They're children who we've enabled to act like criminals. Moving right along. I was doing this research and I realized that they're, you know, over in England, in London, they don't have the gun violence. What do they have? Stabbings, knife crime. Shitheads can't get their hands on guns, they just go around stabbing people. One knife can stab 100 people, it don't run out of fucking ammo. It's quiet. So you got all these shitheads over in London running around stabbing people. It's just another argument that it doesn't matter. Take away the guns. In America, people start stabbing each other. Take away the knives, they'll start hitting each other with baseball bats. Take away the baseball bats, now they'll fucking hit each other with a frying pan. Take away the frying pan. Now we'll hit you with a 2x4. Now we're gonna fucking outlaw 2x4s. Can't even build a fucking house without a permit. You know, to buy the fucking wood. It's ridiculous. So I ran across this, and they're talking about the London's knife incidents. And the government come up with this thing where they put these fucking sayings on these takeout fried chicken boxes. Basically saying shit about, you know, don't carry a knife and these are the problems. And you're like, why the fuck would they put that on a goddamn fried chicken box? But from what I read here, what some people, now I'm not from London and maybe I'm way off, but I read a couple things that said they were associating, the reason they were putting it on these fried chicken boxes because they were putting it in restaurants and areas, I guess in, you know, some of the areas where it was predominantly black kids or migrants or immigrants. Now, if I'm way off base on that, then maybe I read some fake fucking news or whatever. But you gotta ask yourself as an outside observer, why didn't they write that shit on pizza boxes? You just put it on a fried chicken box? It says, you know, knife crime is bad, you know, don't carry knives. You gotta be a rocket scientist to figure out probably where somebody's mind was going. I gotta go get my little man. Alright folks, I'm back. Let me check my notes to see where we were at. Had to take care of the little man. The ladies and my daughter got back from the store, from the market. So I kind of got sidetracked, but you know, that's the joy of being able to work out of your house, you know, work on your own terms. You get to spend a lot more time with your kids, but you also deal with interruptions when you're trying to get something accomplished, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Sipping on some red wine. Alright, so what I was talking about was London's knife crime. And the government's attempt to deal with it. And let me throw a comical, just absolute comical attempt with these chicken boxes. So I pulled up a couple of articles, and I'm just going to kind of read through them because, like I said in the video the other day, what I've learned is most males don't fucking read, and if they are going to read an article, they just scan it. So a lot of times, well, I think from now on, if I say read this article or read down in the description, that don't mean shit. Ain't nobody, and I got it. If you're sitting there on a bar stool drinking, you're watching YouTube, whatever, you don't want to read shit. I got it. So I'll read it for you, and you can just sit there on the bar stool with your earphones in, enjoy the view, and just listen to my voice. But basically, this is dated 19 August 2019 from BBC News, BBC.com. Knife crime, chicken boxes. Let me back up. Okay, the first article was August 15th. Chicken takeaway boxes warn young people of knife crime danger. Chicken boxes featuring warnings about the dangers of carrying a knife have been sent to takeaways in England and Wales as part of a government campaign. More than 321,000 boxes will replace standard packaging at outlets including Chicken Cottage, Dixie Chicken, DIXY, I assume that's Dixie Chicken, and Morley's, the Home Office said. Real life stories of young people who choose positive activities over carrying a weapon are printed inside the boxes. Shadow Home Secretary Diane Abbott said the plan was crude and offensive. However, Home Secretary Priti Patel defended the campaign, accusing Ms. Abbott of playing politics with knife crime. Sound familiar? Gun control in the U.S. is just childish politics, as it is right here in this article here. Printed inside the special boxes, part of the Home Office's #KnifeFree campaign, are first-hand accounts of young people who have opted to pursue pastimes such as boxing or music instead of carrying a knife. Both independent and branch-owned chicken shops will carry the new boxes, and many will also house digital screens highlighting the campaign. Policing Minister Kit Malthouse says they will bring home to thousands of young people the tragic consequences of carrying a knife and challenge the idea that it makes you safer. Just the other day I did a video when I went and bought my cigars, and it's got a picture of a dude with a tracheotomy, throat cancer, all ate up and shit. It says emphysema. That didn't deter me one bit from buying them fucking cigars because they're delicious. You think people are going to read the inside of your fucking chicken box? Let me continue. Because I almost thought, when I first read this, I thought this was like an April Fool's fucking joke. And I said no, because we went through the Just Say No campaign, the fucking genius idea of Nancy Reagan. So I said, this is probably real. Because if anybody just heard about those two things today, they would think they're both jokes. Just say no to drugs, that's going to solve the problem? It's a fucking joke, right? Okay, people are fucking trolling me. Fucking shit printed on the inside of a chicken box? You're fucking trolling me, right? This is bullshit, right? It's got to be. Offensive. But the government has been accused of racial stereotyping. David Lammy, Labor MP for Tottenham, wrote on Twitter, "Is this some kind of joke? Why have you chose chicken shops?" Al Babu, a former chief superintendent with the Metropolitan Police, said this initiative seeks to target chicken shops because the assumption is that's where young black people go. All right, so I do remember reading this right. Right, I'm not crazy. This is where I got this from. There's a racial element to it. It stereotypes people. It's patronizing, and I can understand why people see it as racist. Mr. Abbott tweeted, "Instead of investing in a public health approach to violent crime, the Home Office have opted for yet another crude, offensive, and probably expensive campaign. They would do better to invest in our communities and not demonize them." Courtney Barrett, who runs his own knife amnesty in East London, told BBC News the scheme was a step in the right direction, but stressed that it should not just involve chicken shops. The public need to be made aware not all knife crime is carried out by young people, black people, and gangs. The founder of Benning Knives Saves Lives said. Now folks, I'm going to talk about in a minute. This organization called Benning Knives Saves Lives. Now, if you're not familiar with Britain, my British friends, if you say the bin, that's a trash can. America, we say trash can. They say the bin, binning, throw in the trash can, right? Recent figures showed most perpetrators of knife crime were over the age of 18. Meanwhile, Patsy McKee, who founded Mothers Against Violence in Manchester after her son was shot dead, said sharing stories in this way was not enough to discourage young people from carrying knives. Just putting it on a box isn't going to stop it, she said. Someone who is carrying a knife to feel safe isn't going to put it down. Okay, let me agree with Patsy. Well said, Patsy. You often have to go through an experience to change your views. All right, so we've got some common sense coming out of Miss McKee. Peter Gregg, Director of External Affairs at the Children's Society, is urging more government investment in education for young people about knife crime as well as in early intervention and prevention. What the fuck does that mean, Peter? Motherfucker, you just put a big statement out there to make yourself sound important. Education about what? Intervention and prevention about what? You just threw out fucking buzz keywords. Education, intervention, prevention. You didn't say anything. You didn't solve anything. You're just talking to hear yourself talk, bro. Now, I might be a little hard on you, but you just gave a fucking regurgitated, typical, politically safe, keep my job fucking response. On Twitter, Jeffrey Boatguy described it as a mess and that there was a national crisis in the perception of black kids in urban areas. And Charmaine Lovergrove described it as irresponsible and wildly out of touch. According to the Home Office, the #KnifeFree campaign aims to change the attitudes and behaviors of young people aged between 10 and 21. 10 and 21. A badass kid, 10 to 21, is going to read your fucking chicken box and change his ways? Holy shit. These are the people in charge of our government? I say our government, this is in the UK, but it's the same. It's the same mentality with the children we call politicians over in the United States. Solution to the drug problem, just say no. Solution to the knife crime, we're going to print a story inside a chicken box so a 10-year-old is going to read it and change his life. It follows a series of government pledges to tackle serious violence, including the recruitment of 20,000 new police officers and enhanced stop and search powers for all 43 police forces in England and Wales. Similar chicken boxes were distributed in 15 branches of South London based Morley's in March, and the company's managing director, Shan Selvendran, said it was proud to support the campaign. Well, fuck, if I own a chicken shop, why not? I just got some free packaging. I didn't have to order fucking chicken boxes for the month, so I'm not blaming him. He's going to say he's going to support it. Why? He don't want to go against the government. Number two, he's got free chicken boxes. We want to start conversations amongst all of our customers, he said. All right, perfect answer, dude. Now, folks, the reason I read that whole article, because it sounds so fucking ridiculous. It sounds just as ridiculous as the Just Say No campaign that took, you know, how many hundreds of millions of dollars out of the taxpayers for no fucking reason, no results. If we don't wake up and realize the ridiculousness in the Just Say No campaign, the ridiculousness of their chicken box shit with the knife, what's the hashtag, knife free, we're just going to go down the same tired ass road with the gun control debate in America, waste more fucking money. What happened to this President Obama appointed task force led by Vice President at the time, Joe Biden? What happened? Answer, waste a bunch of money, have some fucking meetings, do some press releases, absolutely zero fucking results. You ain't changed culture, motherfucker. Neither one of you have. The shootings are worse. Alright, let me move along to the second article here. And folks, like I said, it's a long video. It's a great video cast, podcast. If you're watching this, and because the scenery don't change, hit fucking pause, get up, grab your beer, come on right back. So this is August 19th, a few days later, knife crime chicken boxes to be taken back to the government. And it's kind of picture these young gentlemen there with all these chicken boxes, and what people are doing is writing real fucking ideas on these chicken boxes, and they're going to take them back to the government. Holy shit. A London duo are taking chicken boxes filled with solutions for tackling knife crime to the Home Office. The boxes have ideas written inside for members of the public for MPs to consider. It's a response to the government's knife-free, hashtag knife-free, chicken box campaign, which features warnings about carrying knives inside takeaway boxes. Let's see, I think it's Hayel Wartenberg, co-founder of Word on the Curb, says those in power need to take notice of young people's ideas. He set up the online broadcaster Word on the Curb with his business partner, C.O.D.S, says he grew up in and around serious youth violence. The 27-year-old says the original campaign, which Shadow Home Secretary Diane Abbott called crude and offensive, very intimately links stereotypical ideas associated with people of color. Everybody was talking about it. We were getting WhatsApp messages from friends. We were getting involved in discussions on why this is so inappropriate. We thought if everyone is contributing to this discussion now, the best way we can consolidate that is to canvass those options in chicken boxes as a means to patronize this hashtag knife-free campaign in the same vein that they've patronized us. Former Metro Police Chief Superintendent Dal Babu previously said the Home Office campaign seeks to target chicken shops because the assumption is that's where young black people go. Now remember, there's no mention of pizza boxes, breakfast places, biscuit, what else you put in a box? How about putting it in the fucking inside of a McDonald's box? So far, all the evidence says they've just targeted the chicken shops. Policing Minister Kit Malthouse says the boxes will bring home to thousands of young people the tragic consequences of carrying a knife and challenge the idea that it makes you safer. Kit, goddamn, how can you be in charge of an organ? You're the minister? How the fuck they put you in charge of an actual organization or a budget? Wow. Oh my goodness. Common sense don't apply in your mind. And again, I'm not singling you out. New solutions. Some of the suggestions in the chicken boxes include education in schools, investment in youth services, paying attention to family issues. Those solutions in our chicken boxes are all far better ideas than the chicken box idea itself. Alright. So they come up with all these ideas, right? And I'm not going to finish this article because you get the gist of how ridiculous this is. Now, this article don't show the money, but let me talk the money because I saw this in another article. Or they ordered 321,000 of these fucking boxes, and it cost them about 57,000 pounds. Shit, I don't know what the conversion rate is now with this Brexit shit. Well, I don't know. What is $75,000 to print these goddamn boxes out of the taxpayers' money to give away free chicken boxes? This is a perfect example of the good idea fairy sitting within the federal government. They're all looking around. Nobody's got a fucking clue as to how to handle this because they have no fucking experience, and they got these advisors with no fucking experience. Obviously, this fucking minister we just talked about, what was the name? Policing Minister Kit Malthouse, ain't got no fucking clue. I don't know if Kit's a man or a woman, don't matter. He or she is the policing fucking minister, and this is the best ideas you can come up with. Hey, welcome to allowing the Ivy League, the aristocracy, the rich good old boy club trying to fucking solve problems of the masses. It don't fucking work. Attention everybody in the UK. I'm telling you something you already know. The fucking chicken box ain't gonna make one fucking difference. Period. There's no difference. But it brought awareness. It brought awareness to the fact that you individuals in the federal government have no fucking clue as to how to solve the problem. What you did was self-identify the same way that the government self-identified with Nancy Reagan's Just Say No bullshit, that they have no fucking clue, they have no real answers, because the good idea fairy in the room came up with something. Because they didn't want to go to the real people in the streets who are familiar with these issues and ask them for their ideas, because it would make the federal government look obsolete, which most of the cases they are. But they can't let you know that. See how things work? So check out those articles, but in that article there's an organization called Bending Knives Saves Lives. Every knife matters. And they got some videos on there, and they go around dragging a trash can around for people to put their knives in. Look, fellas, I applaud the fact that you're doing something, but you're wasting your fucking time. You dragging that trash can around, hustling somebody to throw their kitchen knife in there. The minute the kid walks off, he's like, fuck, now my mom's gonna wonder where the kitchen knife is. You just go get another one. It would be the same with an attempted gun buyback program. Gun amnesty programs. It's not the solution. Oh, we got 2 knives off the street. You didn't make an impact on anything. You didn't do anything. You made yourself feel good. You went out and made a video. Well, you might be bringing awareness. I'll give you that. But you're not making a difference. As in America, and I don't want to try to solve your problems. I don't live there. This is a cultural problem. You're not going to correct 16, just use a 16-year-old young man for example. You are not going to correct 16 years of programming by him reading a paragraph on a chicken box or seeing a fucking trash can with you begging him to throw his knife in there. You're not changing. Nobody's changing that much programming. This is a cultural problem that starts, and it's mainly because of the lack of fathers influencing young, hard-headed males from the time they are born until the time they're fucking, 35, 40 years old. This is a lack of fathers and a lack of grandfathers. And hey, dude, I'll never tell anybody not to put forth their best effort. But your chicken boxes and your trash can, you're not doing anything. You're not dealing with your efforts are in vain. So let me move forward. Anyhow, check that out. The reason I harp on that is because it is just the exact model of ridiculousness that the politicians in America are going to try to force on you, whatever they're going to come up with. Whether it be they ban 30-round magazines, they ban this, they ban that. You didn't change shit. You didn't change anything. You're not going to change anything. It's too late to take that route. And I'm going to, you can say, well, you haven't gave any solutions. Well, in the end of this video, I'm going to give my solutions. But let me continue on. Enough talking about the goddamn chicken boxes. Shit, it's making me hungry. I tell my ladies to make some fried chicken tonight. All right, let me take a minute to explain why I always talk about these skinny jeans, and when I'm discussing this generation of young males, especially from the U.S. Folks, this is what I think about skinny jeans, right? The guy from my generation. When I first started looking at grown men wearing skinny jeans, I said, those are fucking tights. Those are tights that they sewed a couple pockets on, put a zipper on. Now they call them skinny jeans. No, motherfuckers, those are tights. Okay? Now look, if you're gay, you're transgender, you're a man who wants to dress like a woman, by all means, pursue your happiness. You can come over for dinner. I'm not judgmental in that sense. But when I see a grown heterosexual male trying to be masculine, trying to act like he's got an A-type personality, wearing a fucking pair of tights, it don't fit. At least from a guy from my generation and my background. You're wearing fucking tights. But I'm just saying, you don't see many motherfuckers out deer hunting wearing a pair of fucking tights. You don't see men fucking pouring concrete wearing tights. You don't see people laying fucking brick wearing goddamn tights. And now we got grown men running around wearing tights, skinny jeans. Folks, gentlemen, these are fucking tights with a pocket and a zipper sewn onto them. Now I can understand teenagers and their fads, whatever. Back when I was a kid, there was a short fad where everybody's wearing parachute pants. That came and went because you quickly realized how fucking stupid you looked wearing that shit. So I can understand a 15, 16-year-old teenager wearing this shit and then looking back by the time they graduate high school and say, I can't believe I wore that shit. But when I look out and I see fucking grown men, 20s, 30s, I hope the fuck I don't ever see a man in his 40s wearing fucking tights, but I guess I have. They're out there. I just can't take you seriously. I can't take you seriously if you're trying to talk to me on that level. It's just something I can't deal with. I'm like, this motherfucker's wearing tights. This is what I think the problem is. The reason that the current generation, what do you call them, fucking these millennials, Generation X, whatever they fucking call these young Call of Duty shitheads. Another reason that you're so fucked up is you've been wearing tights, and those tights, those skinny fucking jeans, are cutting off the fucking circulation to your balls. Now let me educate you a little bit on what balls are supposed to do. Your balls, your testicles, your fucking nuts, your cojones, the family jewels. They're there to produce sperm so we can fucking reproduce. And number two, to produce testosterone, androgen. It's the hormone that basically forms the male characteristics about your body. Testicles are not meant to be fucking slammed up against your body with a pair of fucking tights, your skinny jeans. Balls are meant to fucking dangle. They're meant to fucking dangle because they produce sperm at a temperature a little bit less than your body temperature. That's why they say don't get in the fucking hot tub more than 2 hours. It's gonna fucking fry your sperms, too hot. So if it's cold outside, your balls go up with those, muscles, ligaments, the fucking smooth muscle of your scrotum or whatever it is. When it's cold, they shoot up in your tummy and they don't want to fucking come out until summer. When it's hot as balls outside, 110 degrees, them motherfuckers are swinging and dangling. Why? So they fucking cool off. Your body has a natural motherfucking elevator. Elevate them nuts when it's cold or when you're about to get into a fight to protect them. And when it's hot, let them motherfuckers hang so we can get some fucking breeze coming through here. Maintain that fucking temperature. That's important for reproduction and for your male characteristics and traits. So what I believe is that all these skinny jean wearing motherfuckers, the reason that they act the way they act and that they're such pussies these days is that they've been wearing these tights for so long, it's seriously fucked up their production of testosterone, androgen, sperm, and they have not formed as a normal male body should form. I think it's like they've been sitting in a fucking hot tub every day for 12 hours. Now, is this scientific? Well, what I'm saying is, the theory is, it's the same as wearing whitey tighties versus fucking boxers. A dude wearing a set of boxers got a higher sperm count, 9 out of 10 times. Look it up. So I think that's the problem with these skinny jean wearing Call of Duty shitheads. So you can add that. When I say skinny jeans, there's science behind it. They're choking their fucking balls. They're not allowing the normal production of testosterone, androgen, sperm. They're not developing as fucking males. They're just like self-neutering themselves by wearing these tight ass fucking skinny jeans. And oh, by the way, to a dude like me, you look fucking ridiculous. I can't take you seriously. I could take you seriously if you're gay. I could do that. If you're transgender, I could do that. Or if you're just a man who openly wants to dress like a woman, okay. I understand you now. Now let's just be friends. But in my background, my generation, my experience, if you want to go to the fucking shooting range, don't be wearing a fucking pair of skinny jeans, man. I can't take you serious. I couldn't fucking shoot straight because I'd be laughing so hard. You see how that works? I don't want to go to the strip club with you and look at women if you're wearing skinny jeans. I can't take you serious. Unless you're in that demographic and you're honest with me about it, then okay, let's move forward. I get it. My Filipino wife wears tights. She wears skinny jeans. She looks good in those skinny jeans. She looks good in those tights. That's a woman. That's a feminine woman who's beautiful. She can wear skinny jeans all she wants. I prefer her wear regular jeans, But hey, she looks damn good in a pair of skinny jeans. All you grown ass men, you do not. You look fucking ridiculous. And it's fucking with your testosterone production, and that's why a lot of things are fucked up right now. Because there ain't no more real men from America. Very few. There are, but we're very few. That's what I think about fucking skinny jeans. I don't understand how that fashion, how did that come around? Somebody had a great fucking idea. Shit, you know, how did I get, it's probably somebody in the fucking tights business, right? I got all these tights. Nobody wants to buy these tights. How can I convince men to wear fucking tights again? Oh shit, I got an idea. We put 2 pockets on them and a zipper, and we'll rename them, rebrand them, skinny jeans. And now you got grown ass men walking around wearing fucking tights to work out in public. Can't take you serious. I don't think anybody from my generation and older can. You damn sure didn't want to come to my grandfather's house and try to talk to him as a man. He's out there fucking chopping firewood, and you want to come up and talk about deer hunting wearing a pair of skinny jeans? Wasn't gonna happen. But for some reason we got to that, and I just explained the problems wearing these fucking skinny jeans. Now with these school shootings, there's one thing that's always perplexed me. And if there is one of these stories, then I'm just not aware of it. But what I'm questioning during these mass school shootings is out of all these incidents, not one fucking teacher had the balls to be breaking the rules, breaking policy. He would have got fired if they had found out he was doing this, but not one fucking man was carrying a gun clandestinely, illegally, against the fucking rules, because he said, you know what, this is what I need to do. It's reasonable due to today's society. Not one man that I'm aware of, when these school shootings went off, not one fucking history teacher pulled out a gun and went to blasting. Now I know that there's been some heroics where people and teachers have lost their lives. I'm not taking away from that. But they went up against these guys with their bare fucking hands. They lost their lives. What I'm questioning is, out of all these incidents, you mean to tell me there's not one person there breaking the rules out of common sense in a righteous manner and had a gun concealed, either locked in his desk or on his hip, concealed, that nobody knew he was carrying, pulled out that gun and went to work? Nobody. And you're saying, oh, you're advocating breaking the rules. Fuck yeah, I am, when the rules are fucked up. If I were a teacher in the United States of America today, I would be packing a fucking gun with the knowledge that if I'm found out, I'll be fired. I would be okay with that. But the heroics of these teachers, from what I understand in most of the incidents, they've died shielding children. They've died attacking these motherfuckers with their bare hands. Heroics. But I'm still perplexed that there are no fucking real men that say, you know what, this is fucked up. There's school shootings every day. I don't care about your bullshit regulation. I got a concealed weapons permit. I know how to shoot this gun, and if they find out, fuck it. Let them fire me. Let them charge me. I'll go work at fucking Home Depot. I haven't seen that. You saw, and you've seen in various incidents, like that asshole who walked into that church and started shooting. And that fucking gentleman next door rolled out with a rifle and engaged him, running the fuck out of there. I don't even remember all the details, but that's how it's supposed to happen. And as far as I know, ain't nobody pulled out a teacher. Ain't no teacher pulled out a gun and greased the motherfucker. Maybe they weren't in that situation, or just more likely, most of them ain't carrying guns because they're scared they're going to get fired. It's against the rules. It's against regulations. It's against some bullshit state law. All them little bullshit laws and regulations, folks, they're not going to help you when a guy walks in with a rifle and starts pulling the trigger. It's like the old saying, you'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. You'd rather face a jury than, fucking graveyard. So I haven't seen that. If there are any incidents, and you know what's going to happen in America, it's like whenever a 7-Eleven clerk or a convenience store clerk pulls out their own gun and shoots a robber, they end up getting fired for violating policy. Welcome to America, how fucked up we've become. So I'm questioning that. And what I've read is that some of these schools are being proactive because their fucking hands are tied. This is all they can do. I heard that they are putting buckets of rocks by the door of each classroom so that if a fucking gunman comes in, lottie-dottie everybody, all the children are supposed to pick up a fucking rock and start throwing it at this guy. Or I've heard that they put a bucket of baseballs. I applaud whoever is doing that because they're doing something. Something is better than nothing. And they're doing that because that's the only thing within their parameter to do. I say most of them can't even put a bucket of rocks because people would say, oh, that's for violence. But you could put a bucket of baseballs and argue that it's sports equipment. See how fucking ludicrous United States ways and regulation and culture has become? And this is what pisses me off. Because I got 2 young kids. I got 2 young kids now. I'm not in America. But if they do come to America to go to school, and I walked in a classroom, and I look down and I see a fucking bucket of rocks, do you know how pissed off I'd fucking be at the system? Not at the teachers. This is a systemic problem from the fucking top. You mean you want to tell me that the only way that we can defend our fucking children is for your 7-year-old and my 7-year-old daughter, when she turns 7, if a guy walks in with an AK-47, she's supposed to go over there and get her fucking rock out of that bucket or get her baseball and throw it as hard as her 7-year-old little arm can throw it at a motherfucker with a 100-round fucking mag on an AK-47 full auto. That's the best that we can do in the United States of America. A bucket of rocks and a bucket of baseballs for fucking elementary school kids to defend themselves against motherfuckers carrying AK-47s, AR-15s, and goddamn 12-gauge shotguns. I'm pissed off about that. I applaud their efforts. I'm not blaming the principals. I'm not blaming the teachers. I applaud their efforts. But I'm angry as a motherfucker. From the state government to the United States federal government, I'm fucking angry as a motherfucker that that's the best solution we can come up with. And one fat ass fucking school resource officer who can't run from one side of campus to the other. That's not acceptable. I don't think you like it either. If you have kids that go to school, you go to your classrooms, you got a bucket of fucking baseballs there. Don't get mad at the teachers. Don't get mad at the principals. I applaud them for giving them something to fight back with. How hard is a 10-year-old going to throw a fucking baseball at a guy wearing body armor and an AK-47? How fast can a 55-year-old female teacher throw a fucking baseball or a rock? It's better than nothing, and I'm not mad at them for doing it. I'm fucking pissed off from the goddamn governor up to the fucking president of the United States. That's who I'm pissed off at. It's your fucking fault. This is a systemic problem. The violence is a cultural problem. The fact that we cannot protect our own fucking schools is a product of the system. And I'm going to tell you how we're going to correct that if I were president of the United States. I would post up in the fucking Oval Office, get a camera on me, let's go live. So just bear with me for a minute. I'm gonna pretend that I'm the president of the United States of America. Now I'm actually higher up than that because I'm the fucking king of the kingdom of Marcos. So I'm taking a step down, going from king to president. But I'm gonna play the president for a minute. This is how I would solve two issues right now. The issue of school shootings and how to change the culture within 2 decades where we don't do this shit anymore. So I'm going to address that right now as the president. Here we go. Ready? Shit, I ain't got no time. My fellow Americans, due to the current state of the union, it is necessary for me to issue some new directives to protect our nation's children. Tonight I'm going to address the immediate threat of school shootings that keep occurring in our country. And I'm also going to lay down some policies and procedures for a long-term solution to the overall violence in our country. Therefore, I'm going to lay out the short-term tactical plan and the long-term strategic plan. Therefore, by executive order afforded to me by the United States Constitution, I hereby order the following. Effective immediately, every licensed school teacher in the United States has the right to carry a gun. That right extends to anywhere within the United States and its territories at any time. This includes while teaching in the classroom. If you currently hold a license to teach, you now currently also hold a license to protect. We trust our teachers with the awesome responsibility of molding and conditioning the minds of our children. There is no greater burden of responsibility on any profession or any greater consequence if they fail to do their job. Now I am bestowing upon them the moral obligation and ability to protect our children from physical harm as well. This order is not negotiable. In addition, I'm also ordering that every physical education teacher be armed with United States government issued weapons in the form of rifles, specifically M4s. And you ask yourself, why is this? Well, folks, I have faith in our teachers. I have faith in the teacher inside that classroom can defend, one teacher can defend one classroom. I have faith in that. Our physical education teachers, our football coaches, our volleyball coaches, basketball coaches, most of them are in pretty good physical shape. That's why they're called PE teachers. They're mostly A-type personalities. They're wearing shorts, a t-shirt, and they always got the running shoes on. With that being said, it makes sense to arm that group of faculty with the appropriate weaponry to basically seek out any shooter that walks into that school identify, close with, and destroy that threat. So therefore, I ordered federal agencies, and I've spoke to many of the sheriff's office in the United States, the Sheriff's Association. Everyone is in concurrence. Within 48 hours, if you're a physical education teacher, you will be issued an M4 carbine and appropriate ammunition, and you will receive the appropriate training to deal with an active shooter situation. Folks, this may sound drastic, and from the outside looking in, it is. These steps are necessary to immediately end the carnage that we currently see and experience in our nation's schools. One teacher can defend their classroom. The football coaches will take down the threat. That's a 100% solution. We can't depend upon a police officer being in every school or responding quick enough to prevent the carnage. A teacher armed with a handgun pointed at her door, should anybody come in and offer bodily harm to those students, it's a 100% solution. Physical education coaches banding together with M4s, basically amounting to a squad. It's not going to take long to eliminate any threat that walks into one of our schools. This order is also non-negotiable. My administration will be closely watching this program. Any school administrator who engages active shooters during the course of his or her duties or during the course of his or her travels, especially on a school campus, will have the full support and backing of the United States federal government. They will immediately receive a full presidential pardon from investigation, criminal prosecution, arrest, jail time, and any type of civil litigation. If any teacher has to shoot and kill any active shooter on any campus, it's like they have diplomatic immunity. If any lawyer tries to challenge this executive order, he or she will be arrested and tried for treason. You will be afforded the opportunity to file your frivolous lawsuits from inside your jail cell over at Leavenworth Prison, and you'll be doing life for treason. As we have identified the threat to our nation's children as the #1 threat to our national security. We're ranking this right up there with the nuclear threat. We have a nuclear threat, and then we have school shootings killing our nation's future leaders, and we're not going to have that, folks. Directive number 2 in the short-term fight: the ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, is hereby disbanded. Effective immediately, it ceases to exist, as it seems their mandate has been to basically go after mostly law-abiding citizens for just technicalities of laws that are mostly illogical and ludicrous and just waste time. So we're going to go ahead and disband this organization. All employees with firearms need to immediately report to your office, turn those in, get prepared for out processing. Folks, these 2 immediate action plans are the first step in solving the overall problem. But what we're most concerned with is preventing the school shootings, and we're convinced that this plan is going to do that. Long-term plan. Folks, guns aren't the problem here. The problem in our country is an issue of culture. It's a problem in how we raise our children. By executive order effective immediately, all family law cases shall be suspended. All state laws pertaining to divorce, child custody, child support, alimony, child visitation are hereby repealed. We will be issuing a federal law to properly address and replace the broken system within 48 hours. The law will be a one-page document that judges may not deviate from. I'll give you the bullet points. Element number 1, children will spend 50% of their time with each parent. This is not negotiable. The assets will be divided 50-50 upon the dissolution of the divorce. Child support, alimony, taking payments from another's pension, any type of post-marriage payments is hereby banned. Once the two parties go their ways, they're responsible for making their own money. So in a nutshell, there is no more divorce for profit. We've eliminated that. If you're currently paying child support, alimony, pensions, all those orders are also repealed. You'll be issued a new order in accordance with this new federal law, with my executive order. Once the divorce is filed, it must be finalized within 14 days. If not, the couple is banned from filing again for 2 years. Once you file, get your stuff together, you'll receive an order, or you need to wait 2 years to come back and try again. We're going to free up the court systems to deal with more pressing matters than couples in the United States arguing over who gets the good towels. Maximum amount of money any attorney can charge to handle a divorce is set at $3,500. That's for the couple, not per person. The couple needs to make the agreement. The attorney is basically a scribe. He can charge $3,500. This will also be prosecuted on the federal level if any attorney is caught violating this order. Folks, this long-term plan will take 2 decades. It will take 2 decades. It will take an entire generation for my family law plan to take effect, to where we go back to being civil to one another in the United States. We will come out with some additional directives, but our priority number 1 is to stop school shootings. Thank you, my friends. Thank you, my fellow Americans. Have a good night, and may God bless you all. Whew. Shit, man, that was hard being president, trying to be formal. My goodness. Man, that's rough sitting up there. I mean, I was reading off of this right here, trying to stay formal. I guess that's tough being a president, sitting there reading off that damn formal teleprompter coming across. Shit, I wouldn't be like that. I don't need no teleprompter. I just read that right there just to stay in my game as the prez, you know. It's much more fun being the king, saying what the fuck I want to say, how I want to say it. Let me just go back to one point. Let me just refer to my notes to jog my memory. So if I were president, that's what I would do. That's exactly what I would do. Immediately is the 2 orders I would issue right now to stop the school shootings and start changing the culture. The politicians, when they start talking about this stuff, they always go down these racial lines. They make it racially motivated, racially this, or you're discriminating against these folks. There's always an angle they're working because they're just trying to get fucking reelected. A lot of these politicians are just fucking nobodies. They fucked around, got elected, and the only thing important to them is to stay councilman so-and-so or senator so-and-so, because that's all they got. Congresswoman so-and-so, that's all they fucking got. That's their identity, that's their 5 minutes of fame, and they don't want to give it up. They're making good money, they're getting catered to, everybody's licking their fucking asshole, and before they were used car salesmen. No respect. So they're gonna say what they gotta say to get reelected. That's all they care about. That is their number one fight. Main concern is getting reelected or staying in politics so they don't have to work a real fucking job. Now these rich cats that go, okay, it's not about the money. But if you're working if you're working a minimum wage job, you're running for office to get up out of that struggle. You're gonna get a big paycheck. Now you got some respect. Before you were fucking nobody. But don't think the politicians really give a fuck about solving this problem. A politician with a gun manufacturer in his state ain't going against the gun manufacturer. It ain't gonna happen. You're killing jobs. You're taking jobs. No, it ain't gonna happen. So they're a slave to the gun manufacturer. Folks over here with no gun manufacturers and a lot of gun violence, well, they're on the opposite side of the fucking fence. It doesn't matter really what they think or what's good for the long run. They're gonna say what the fuck they gotta say to get reelected. And most of them aren't really even representing the people. They're saying and representing whoever's fucking putting money into their campaign fund. They're bought. Most politicians are bought and paid for. It's not about the best interest of the public or shit like that. Alright, what would I do? I'd arm every fucking school teacher. Every fucking school teacher. If you are an active teacher and I'm trusting you with my son, my daughter, with her mind, and her being in your classroom under your direction and tutelage every day, I should trust you to have a damn Glock 23 strapped on your hip. If I can't trust you with a Glock 23, then why should I trust you molding my child's mind for 8-9 hours a day? That's even worse. Are there going to be some issues with that plan? Sure. Every now and then you can have a teacher blow a hole in their toe. They'll leave a fucking gun in the bathroom. Shit happens. It happens every day, even the fucking seasoned law enforcement officers. Okay? Yeah, there'll be some hiccups in that program. But it's a deterrent, number one, and number two, it's a fucking immediate response. You let these fucking any two shitheads walk into a school, I don't want them to make it past the first fucking classroom door. But I would say that the best response would be do what they're doing now. They get an active shooter, everybody locks the doors to the classroom. Perfect. But the added element would be the teacher gets everybody down behind the desk and the teacher pulls out that Glock and points it at the door. And anybody who comes through that fucking door with the intent to do harm to those children, he just starts blasting. You don't have to be a great marksman to point it at a fucking door and just sit there and wait. And if it's not the police telling you the secret code word or whatever, and that door flies open, there's a skinny jean wearing Call of Duty shithead standing there with a fucking AR-15, just start pulling the trigger. You may not hit him, but you're going to scare the shit out of him or run him out of there. So to arm all the teachers, keep the same plan in place. Let them shelter in place, lock their doors, point that gun at the fucking door. 100%. The fucking coaches, the PE coach, the goddamn football coach. Think about it. They're all wearing fucking shorts, t-shirts. They got their tennis shoes on. They're in great shape. They're already fucking running around the track with these kids. Gunfire goes off. They're fucking at a straight sprint to the fucking gun locker. They grab fucking M4s. They look around at the other 3 or 4 of them. Let's go. And they fucking march to the guns and grease the little fuckers. End of story. Now look, all the PE coaches I know, they're mostly A-type personalities. They're used to working well in groups, organizing the kids in groups. They're physical. I'm sure them motherfuckers, if they don't know how to shoot already, we can teach them. I got faith in them. If they can teach a group of kids to become a football team or a baseball team or whatever they're doing, wrestling, name a sport. If they don't already know how to shoot, we can teach them, and we can teach them basic tactics. Put those damn rifles in their trunks of their cars, and anytime they hear fucking gunfire go off, every one of them sprints to the cars, they meet up and fucking go take down the threat. End of story. That's 100% solution right there, my friends. That's a 100% solution. I got faith in our teachers. Even the frailest of teachers can hold a Glock 23 pointed at a fucking classroom door. And it don't matter if that joker starts shooting the lock off. If he comes through the door, I got faith that she can pull that fucking trigger long enough until them coaches get there and smoke that motherfucker. I got faith in the PE teachers. In the goddamn football coaches of America. Hell, I could probably take it even further and say arm the fucking maintenance guys. They're blue collar workers. They know how to fucking, they can work on an air conditioner. They can climb a ladder. They can fix the plumbing. These guys are deer hunters. Arm them motherfuckers too. Once we do this, anybody would be a damn fool to even plan it. It's a deterrent. It would be like trying to rob a Las Vegas casino. It would be like that fucking Ocean's 11 when that guy said, he was talking about, the times that somebody had almost robbed the casino, right? It'd be the same way with these school shootings. I mean, they wouldn't make it 10 fucking meters. They wouldn't get to fire 3-4 rounds. Arm the fucking teachers. Take out that bucket of fucking rocks where my kid is supposed to go over there, and every fucking 5-year-old is supposed to start throwing rocks at a guy with an AK-47. Fuck y'all. You fucking arm that teacher. DJT, Donald Trump, you issue every fucking physical education teacher a goddamn M4. Problem solved. In the second part, you get rid of that bullshit family fucking law shit. One document. You want a divorce? Here are the parameters. You got 14 fucking days to work it out. If not, don't come back here bothering us for fucking 2 years. That's it. 50-50. Most important thing, and the number one thing I listed was what? Time. 50% of that male's time at least needs to be with his father. It needs to be the opposite. If you don't pick up your kid for your 50% of the time, then we come fucking put you in jail. That's the way it should be. Motherfucker, you better come get your kid for your 50%, or that's when we're gonna fucking start looking at you. Those are the changes I would make right now. No more school shootings. With the number of teachers carrying guns anywhere they want, they will filter out more guns in the community with respectable individuals. I'm not going to solve all the mall shootings, but I'd say there'd be a good chance there'd be a teacher to fuck them all. I'm not going to solve everything, but that will solve the school shootings. And changing the family law within 2 decades will put us back to being peaceful and civil to one another. Doesn't matter how many guns are in society or not in society, how many fucking knives, how many goddamn skillets. Within 2 decades of my divorce plan and parameters, we'll rein in some of these little Billy badasses that have no direction because their father's not there teaching them how to be a man, responsibility, trust, all those core values that only a father can pass on to a child or a grandfather. If the father's a shithead, put an uncle in there. Somewhere in that family tree there's a fucking male that can help mold that male child. The death penalty as a deterrent. People argue that the death penalty is not a deterrent. It's not a deterrent because it's not utilized. My grandfather used to say that the country is going to hell in a handbasket. And it's not going to change until they bring back public hangings. And no, we're not talking about any type of racially motivated hanging. We're talking about somebody steals a bunch of horses, they get caught by the sheriff, the judge sentences them to death, and they hang in the goddamn middle of town. Everybody watches it. There wasn't much crime back then compared to where we're at now. You go to a place like Abu Dhabi, Dubai, virtually no crime. There's no violent crime. For example, several years ago, this female killed an American woman in one of the malls, stabbed her to death. You can look up the incident for the details, but this is my point. I think it was approximately 5 months later, she had a trial. She was quickly apprehended. 5 months later, had a trial, sentenced to death. This is a female. 1 month later, she was executed by a firing squad on a military installation. End of story. Point of her crime of murder, the point of fucking execution, 6 months. That's why there's no murders over there. That's why there's no crime. We have the death penalty in the United States. We don't fucking use it. It's made a mockery of it. But when I was a young kid growing up in north of Houston, Texas, my stepfather's father lived up in a nursing home in Huntsville, Texas. That's where they execute people. Everybody knows it in Texas. You say the word Huntsville, it scares me to this day. We would go up there on Sundays to visit the old man, and I did not want to eat lunch in Huntsville. I was a young kid. I wanted to go there, visit this old codger, and get the fuck out of there. Just being up there, knowing that that's where they execute people. And in Texas, they actually do. One of the states who they use it. As a young guy, in my mind, growing up, I knew if I committed a murder, I was going to Huntsville and I was getting a needle in my arm and I was being executed. Fuck yeah, it was a deterrent. Why? Because they used it. All these other states, Texas included. What do? You do a crime in 1980. Takes you 6 years to go to trial. You get sentenced to death. 30 years later, you're still sitting on death row. You die of old age. That's not a proper deterrent. A proper deterrent is the way it was handled in the 1800s. You got caught with 10 stolen cows. Sheriff drove you to the judge, sentenced to death, and you fucking were executed. That was effective. Okay, over in the UAE, Abu Dhabi, the point of that murder to the point of execution, 6 months, that was a woman. Ain't many murders over there. See how that works? You can't tell me that the death penalty is not a deterrent. It's a fucking deterrent when it is utilized, and when it's utilized swiftly. The system now is just a fucking joke. You can do anything you want, sit on death row for fucking decades and just write books and laugh, enjoy your 3 meals a day, watch your fucking TV, do interviews. It's a fucking joke. you might as well abolish it because you're not using it. Nobody's fearful. Therefore, there's not a deterrent in anybody's mind not to do this shit. Because now, you go shoot people, turn yourself in, and give up to the cops. You sit in prison until you die of old age. There's no deterrent in that. Some of these shitheads live a better life in prison than they'd live out on the fucking streets. There's no deterrent. The point of the story is we need to create a psychological fear in any individual who thinks they're going to walk into a school in the United States of America and do violence. We need to create the same psychological fear that I had as a child, living in close proximity to Huntsville, Texas, where they executed people. We need to create the fear and the perception that if I walk into a school, I'm not leaving alive. That's the perception that we need to create. There's nothing more precious than our children. This is the future. This is the future leaders of the United States of America. There is nothing more important to protect than our children. I'm 46 years old. I'm closer to death than I am birth. I'm on a downhill slope, as are many of you. It's not very important to protect us. We're on our way out anyhow. It's important to protect the children who are on the way up, who will ensure that life goes on. And so far in America, we have not done a very good job at protecting our children when they're just trying to learn. They're in an environment where they're learning. We can't even protect them. And it's a sad fucking state of affairs because there's very few fucking real men left in the United States. That's my belief. All right, I got one more suggestion. All of the military recruiters floating around the United States, and you got military recruiting stations everywhere. Now listen, I'm aware of the laws. We can't use the U.S. military against their own people. I get all that, right? But I would arm the recruiters, not for the specific purpose of them taking any proactive action, but as a defensive measure. You could argue it's merely defensive. We're taking good, responsible people that we trust to go wherever on the globe and fight our battles for us. They're already out in the community, they're out in the schools. Arm every one of them. So I guess if I were president, I would throw that in there. Arm every recruiter, period. Have them fucking strap a pistol on at every recruiting station. There's fucking rifles. Then I would even go even further to put the recruiting stations in at least high schools and universities to beef that up. Number one, they're already recruiting from high school students and college students. Put them there. I don't give a fuck what the dean thinks about it. This is a matter of national security. People are killing our students. They're killing our children. I would station the recruiting stations in the high schools, every fucking university, and they would be armed. They would have rifles at the office, rifles in their vehicles, and they would just be an additional layer of protection. And again, I don't give a fuck what anybody else says. They're not there to intimidate anybody. Arming them is not going to change the fucking putting their office right there on broom closet on campus. You're not changing any of the fucking ideologies or the freedom of speech or anything like that. All right, I'm all about freedom of speech, and I'm against most of these fucking military excursions. If you don't want to join the army, goddamn, that's fine. Don't go over there and talk to the guy. He can't force anything on you. Just don't go talk to him. Don't go by their fucking office. But if a motherfucker walks on campus and starts shooting, you got fucking trained goddamn soldiers with fucking weapons to assist what I just fucking explained to goddamn PE coaches, the football coach, to go grease these guys. They're there. That 3 minutes it takes for a cop to get there, to 5 minutes, however far away it is. Now look, in these big cities, there's cops everywhere. They got a quick response time. If you're out in the fucking country, in a county, you know, a big county that's rural, and you got 5 deputies for this huge county, it may take a fucking deputy 20 minutes to get there. It could take them even longer. You know, if the deputy covering this zone way up here, like when me and the J-Dog used to work, we had this fucking county, 2 of us up top, 3 down the bottom. There was 5 motherfuckers plus a supervisor at night. If he took a dude to jail, my nearest backup was 20 minutes away at least if I was getting my ass beat. So at one of those schools, if the shooting goes off, you're waiting 20 minutes for a fucking cop to come out there. Again, not in the big cities, but in the rural counties, yeah. You might be waiting that long. How many people can a dude kill in 20 minutes? A lot. How many people can a dude kill? If every teacher is armed, the PE coaches got rifles, and there's a fucking recruiting station in there with fucking 4 bored Marines sitting around, he ain't killing many. He ain't killing many at all. See how that works? Got to be some changes, and we have to look at this, that it's an issue of national security, and it's more important to protect our kids than to fucking go over to the Middle East, Afghanistan, everywhere fucking else, and drop bombs on farmers with fucking drones. Cancel the drone program, take that fucking money and put it towards school defense. These teachers that ain't got money to buy weapons, issue them a fucking weapon. They don't got training, let the sheriff's office fucking train them. Pay the sheriff's office overtime for their SWAT team to train these guys. But until we start looking at it like it's as serious as national security, it is more important for us to protect our schools than to bomb farmers in Afghanistan, Iraq, Yemen, fucking where the fuck we're at in the world. It's more important to protect that local elementary, middle, high school, that university, than it is to be over there bombing farmers. Until we look at it like that, nobody's going to change it. And until somebody has a set of balls, namely the president, ain't nothing going to change. The perception needs to be fear. If anybody walks into a school and starts shooting, and if they do, 2 shitheads break that fucking threshold. I want to see 3 teachers, 2 coaches, 4 lunch ladies, the maintenance guy, and the fucking janitor just open up on them little motherfuckers. I want 2 Call of Duty shithead, skinny jean wearing fucking would-be school shooters to face a fucking wall of fire the minute they set foot into that fucking school. Who cares? The lunch lady takes a couple rounds to the shoulder. 1 teacher gets killed. Somebody loses a toe. And the maintenance guy gets chicken wing. So be it. Those babies in there, those defenseless children who are just starting their life, is more important than your fucking life. More important than my life, more important than the lunch lady, the coach, the principal, everybody else inside that building. It should be implied that they would lay down their life for these kids. So it should be implied you got the balls to fucking learn how to handle a weapon And it should be implied that you should have the balls to implement that weapon and go to work if need be. But as a whole, I see people in America talking, which that's what mostly Americans do, just fucking talk and argue, no action. I see people talking about being concerned about these school shootings. I see nobody taking real fucking action to prevent them. You're just fucking talking. But I will leave you with this decision-forcing case. If you have children, say you have a 7-year-old daughter, 2 gunmen walk into school and they just kill 5 people. They open up the door to your daughter's classroom where she's hiding behind a desk with 30 other children. Do you want that teacher to be armed with a bucket of baseballs or a gun? If you're a parent, now if you don't have kids, you can't understand the gravity of this. But imagine your 7-year-old daughter hiding behind a desk, listening to gunshots, and that door flies open knowing that they're next. I want my child's teacher to have a fucking gun. A Glock 23, a Glock 22, 40 caliber rounds, 15 of them. When that door flies open, I want that teacher to start squeezing the fucking trigger until he or she has no more ammunition in the defense of my child. That's what I want. I don't want a 55-year-old teacher throwing baseballs at a guy with an AK-47. That's not acceptable. What would you do? What do you want? There's no gray area. You can't weasel out of this question. Everybody for gun control, you can't weasel out of this question. You're not going to get all the guns off the street. There's too many. A guy walks into your child's classroom with a rifle. He's going to start shooting. Do you want that teacher to be armed with a baseball or a gun? Make a decision. It's one word, baseball or the word gun. I choose the gun. Alright folks. Maybe you think I'm a fucking lunatic after this. Apparently you ain't seen the rest of my videos. Hey, leave a big comment down in the comment section. What would you do? If you were DJT or Donald J. Trump right now, what would you do to immediately, I question this, number one, what would you do to immediately stop the school shootings? We gotta stop that, number one. Kids in school should not be worried about getting shot and picking up fucking rocks to throw at a guy with an AK. They need to be working on math, fucking history, science, all that shit. So what would you do, number one, if you had the power and you were the president? And I'm saying you're God, but if you're the president of the United States, what would you do to stop the school shootings? And then what would you do on a broad term to change the cultural problems? And put anything you want. If you think gun control is the way to go, put it down there. Let's debate it. Until you get all sides weighing in on this issue, and we get some credible people like my task force I talked about, and get the fucking Just Say No idiots and the chicken box idiots out of here, okay, we're not going to solve this problem. I want to thank everybody for joining me. I'm getting thirsty and I got a cold beer in there I got to go get. If you're not a subscriber, right there, hit that damn little subscribe sign, that Overstay Road sign. Get on board with my channel. Food, beer, visas, bad behavior, shit like this. So thank you very much for joining me, folks. If you took any offense to this video, just deal with it. I don't apologize. Too much fucking apologies and too many pussies in the world. So if you took offense, take out your frustrations down in the comments. If you want to fry the messenger, which that's what politics is about. People don't want to debate issues. They just want to belittle one another like children. Go ahead. I'm not going to block your shit. Say what you want to say. Talk about my hat. Talk about my glasses. Talk about my accent. Oh, you ain't never done nothing in life. I don't give a fuck. Leave your shit down there. But what I'd like to see is what you really think about how we can solve the gun control debate, which for me, it's not gun control, it's a cultural problem. How do we solve these mass fucking shootings? But I want to know specifically, I would like to know how you would stop and prevent any more school shootings if you can make sweeping changes right now. Leave it down below. I'll see you on the next one, my friends. It's time to go drink beer and barbecue.